Welcome, my little couch potatoes, to the comfiest courtroom on the internet. I'm your host, Llama, and it's time for dramatic testimony, overruled objections, and absolutely unqualified opinions. So grab your snuggiest blanket, some delicious snacks, and get ready to watch court with your internet besties. This is Couch Court with Llama.
Hello, couch potatoes. Welcome back to our afternoon stream of day 3 of New Hampshire versus Dustin Duren. We are back for the afternoon session where we're going to pick up where we left off, which was them playing a police interview with Dustin. Now, we can't hear it, so I've been reading it. It's the best we got because the audio, not great. So I came prepared with the rest of my pot of coffee, a Red Bull, a can of Coke, because I think I'm going to get thirsty because we got like another hour and 15 minutes maybe still to go in this police interview, which has already been somewhat eye-opening to me anyway. But before I get into that, because court's not back yet, they're not even showing the seal, let's say hi to everybody. There's Lainey. Hello, Lainey. Look at y'all waiting around for me. I appreciate it. I was just like, I need to rest this voice if I'm going to keep reading here. Pilo's mom just chilling on the sofa. Snacks and cold ones are on the table. Living the dream, Pilo's mom. Oh, that reminds me, I don't have any wine for tonight for True Crime and Wine Time. I might have to let Elbow Feet know about that. Or maybe I won't. I don't know. Anyway, hello, Lady in Gray. Hello. Welcome. Happy to have you back. There's Dave. Oh, damn portals. Oh, I hope it worked. Oh, no. Well, while everyone else is getting in here, got 80s Music Man. There you are. Hello. Welcome back. Liz, our girl from Ireland. Welcome as well. I hope your kid pickup went safe and easy. There's Michael. Hello, Michael. Hello. Oh, Dave is out for the day. Okay. Well, it was nice to see you around either way, Dave. In case you come back as the replay crew and also other replay crew people. Hello. Appreciate you. Trying to get better at doing shout outs to you guys. So, hello, Angie. Welcome back. Oh, that's right. You are going on a Halloween trip. You're awesome. And you guys, because this is a new stream, if you haven't yet, please like this video. It gets us put back in the algorithm. Lets everyone know that, hey, if you're watching this trial, you might want to watch it with Llama because she's going to read all the stuff you can't hear. So that, and we have fun. Hello, Kelly P. Welcome back. So in the interview with Dustin, because of course I thought about this the entire time we were on a break. So he acts in this interview as if things are no big deal. You know, he stammers a lot in when he's speaking. He's like, well, do you want all these details? I don't know. He talks about how him and Caitlyn, the 2 daughters, are both of theirs. They're not married. They lived in Nevada for some time. Oh, our seal is back, but it's not. I'm going to unmute that, though, so I know when they do come back now that music is over. So they lived in Nevada for a time, and he told them that one day Caitlyn took the stroller, and then she took the 1-year-old. They had 4-year-old and 1-year-old. Not sure where the 4-year-old was. Maybe she's in daycare, something along those lines. And then she took a stroller and went to the park with the younger daughter, which he said was pretty normal. They go to the park all the time. She didn't come back. It had been hours. And it turns out that she and the 1-year-old went to the airport and flew back home to Minnesota, leaving all of their stuff behind, which was a little confusing because before he says that, they asked, well, what are you doing in New Hampshire? How'd you get from Nevada, Minnesota to here? And he was like, oh, well, we decided, agreed that that's where we're going to go because she has an aunt that's here or whatever. And that they were getting, those pods, those, I don't know how to describe them, but, a container that you put all your shit in and they, transport it across the country. I'm sure you've seen them. And then he said, oh, well, she got her own pods and she took like 90% of our stuff. Okay. And then she went back to Minnesota. He ended up going back to Minnesota as well. His family lived he did live in northern Minnesota, where she was more southern Minnesota. And he would have to drive hours to go see the girls, but it was fine. He was fine with that. Everything was peachy keen. No, it wasn't. So then they decided, because of holidays and birthdays, they would go to New Hampshire after the littlest one's birthday in January. So he ends up arriving with the 4-year-old in New Hampshire January 23rd. And we know that Caitlyn and the youngest daughter shows up on February, I want to say the 27th or 28th. Can't remember how long she was in town before she was. I think it was the 27th, if I recall. 27, 28, doesn't matter. But he's just making it sound like, oh, this is totally, we're all fine. We're all good. We have all this arrangement. Even though he said that Caitlyn said, I have all the rights to the kids, which she does legally, all of them, 100%. So that's kind of where we are in the interrogation part. He has not talked about what happened that night, but so far it's not looking good for him. If you can read between the lines. I don't know if the jury's reading between the lines, but we are. So, in the words of Lori Daybell, nonchalant, right? Oh, look at Lola's mom walked the dog, made coffee, heading to the car wash and the beach. Grab your chair. Oh my gosh. I didn't know we were going to be taking field trips today. I love that. It is way too cold to be at a beach here. Hello, Sam. Welcome back. Yeah, guys, don't forget, if you put !couch, you can claim your seat on the couch. That's right. It's just something fun and silly that we like to do. Hello, Michael. Welcome back. Welcome back. We're just still on the seal because, of course, we are. So it is planned for the state to rest today. Whether or not the defense starts today is unknown. Like I said, we still have another hour and 15, 20 minutes left of this interview. Then there will probably be cross. Let's see what, an hour and 15 minutes. It's going to put us at like 2:30, 2:45. So they'll take a break. Then they'll do cross. I don't know if they have another witness after this. If they did, I don't know who it would be, because we already heard from the medical examiner, which, by the way, if you missed this morning, the medical examiner explained to us that Caitlyn was shot on one side of the head and went out the other, and that based on his exam, Dustin was at least 3 feet or further away from her when he shot her. And he was holding the baby, according. I mean, that's kind of been up in the air, but that's what they were saying. So that is where we are. Yeah, look at you guys getting your seats on the couch. Getting your seats on the couch. I'm working 12 hours today. Ooh, boy. That farm work's a lot of work. That it is. Where are you at? You're in Kentucky, right, Michael? I think you are. So, yeah, you got to get to doing stuff, and then the ground is cold. Do you plant, or do you have animals, or do you do both? What do you do? I'm sorry if you brought it up before and I forgot, but so that is where we are. Don't forget, you guys, tonight, True Crime and Wine Time, 8 p.m. Eastern, right here. Terry and I will be back. It's her first True Crime and Wine Time back since she got home from Europe. We're going to be covering All Duckies Go to Heaven. Excuse me. The devastating tale of Judith Barcy. Now, I always talk about all the time, this has nothing to do with that case, but it is well known that Llama burps a lot when she's recording things. And now that I'm going to be voicing this whole interview and I have lots of drinks, prepare yourself. And I'm doing my best to try to match with their cadence, but I might miss parts. Sometimes they talk slow, sometimes they talk fast. I'll tell you what's difficult, as I learned how to do in this, is that it sounds like they're talking slow, but trying to talk quicker to make sure that you're covering everything. It feels like I'm just faster than I normally talk, I feel. But yes, tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern, pour a glass of wine, come deep dive with us. It'll be a good time. If you're not ready for winter, me either, babes, me either. But you know what I did? I went shopping like a couple of weeks ago, and I got these sweatpants that are so comfortable. Oh my gosh, they're amazing. So comfy. They got pockets. They got 3 pockets. And I got one. Well, Elbow Feet got me a pair, and I was like, oh my God, these are amazing. So I went back to the store and I bought 2 more pair. So they're all the same, all the same. And they're gray, with light gray. I like grays, but I don't really care for light gray. But oh man, nothing like a good pair of thick, comfy sweatpants in the wintertime. Michael says, no, we used to do everything with milk cows, goats, chickens, ducks, beef, pork, and everything, and a huge garden and corn for the critters. Now we just have a garden and cats and a dog. Well, that's still, whew, I would start my day at 4 a.m. and work till after midnight. It wore us out. Yes, even with all of the amazing advances there is in running a farm, it's not even a full-time job. It's like 2 full-time jobs, and you can't get a break because who's going to do all the stuff if you're on a break, you know? So yeah, farming's hard stuff. Can't imagine what it was like way back in the day before we got all the machines and stuff. There's Zoe. I knew it. I tried to get her to go outside while we were on break. She was like, I'm not waking up to go to the bathroom. I was like, fine, whatever. And now she comes prancing out here. I'm ready to go out now. Oh, she's so dramatic. So dramatic. In a momento where I let her outside. Here, I'll put this up so you have something to look at besides just purple. I'll be right back. Okay, sorry about that. I am back. She was very quick because it's cold outside. She does not like being out in the cold. But this morning, she didn't want to go out earlier when I was letting Kita out. Of course, I sat down, getting ready to go live, and she scratched at the door. And I was like, oh, of course. And so, I let her out. Both dogs walk back towards my door like they're going to come inside. Kita runs in. Now, Zoe walking towards the door, and then she just curves so she can go into the backyard. And I'm like, you're the worst sometimes, Zoe. You're the worst. Where were my sweatpants from? Ooh, a place called Shoppers World, which is like my new favorite place. It's like a discount, like TJ Maxx, Marshalls, right? Like they get in stuff, but it's cheaper than a thrift store. I'll tell you what. And really, really affordably priced. The sweatpants were like $12, and they're comfy as shit. Plain color tees were like $4. It's crazy. Clothes should be priced what they used to be anyway, like cheaper than freaking going to Goodwill. Anyway, I went there and it was amazing. If you have a Ross, kind of like that, except way more affordable than Ross. We're back. But I bought 3 pair. And no regrets. And they're kind kind of wide leg and not like the scrunchy kind by your I do not like those. Don't like them one bit. Um, so normally if I find something that I really like, I will go and buy a couple pairs, because it can be hard to find.
Good afternoon. Thank you. Please be seated.
No records. Oh yeah, I'm gonna have to bring this over here so I can read for all you good fine folks. All right, so I'm going to be reading. I will not be able to pull up comments.
Thank you.
I'll do my best to glance over when I can, but I can't. So, all right. So they're starting back. Like we'll have to hire a place, but moved in. I'm pretty sure the 23rd. Oh, but this is a part of the beginning of the issues. Oh wait, is that she was running into all sorts of money problems, and I definitely did not have a good income. I mean, I was basically pretty much fully, I get VA disability, and I was basically fully working off of my VA disability. He listed his income as working at Google and YouTube. And so I didn't have money, especially with the move, which I have a spreadsheet of all my finances, including the total cost of the move. And it was almost 5,000. And that includes the first rent and the security deposit. But anyways, I had to go further in debt just to get that move going. But then I felt like, well, okay, obviously once I can just get settled in, then I can get stabilized, get to work. But anyway, she kept asking for more and more money, and actually this started when we were in Minnesota too. She kept asking for money right away. So this would have been like August or September. I don't remember. But right away, she wanted 2,000 a month from me, in which there's no chance that I could have done that at the time. When she was in Minnesota, that's not even realistic. Yes. Okay. Because again, so basically from July, August until now, basically I would, I had like a few $100 or more, but I was basically working fully off of the VA disability. And so previously 2,000 or like 2,000 a month to me, yeah, there's no chance I could have done that. But she just like kept threatening, well, okay, I'm going to take the kids away and da 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 da. So I tried basically to like placate her. I was sending her like whatever I could. So I remember like right away when she sent me or when she was yelling at me about spending 2,000 every month to her, that was because again, there's no chance I could do that. But I ended up sending her 500. And then just every month, it was basically the same things of her wanting more money with threats of taking the kids away. And I couldn't do that. And there was a few times like I was sending, I don't remember the exact amounts, but I'm sure they can be looked up. Doesn't matter. I'll keep comments to myself. Sorry. But I would send like $100 one month or like $200 another month. And anyways, so I guess yeah, I forgot because I went on a tangent and I do that a lot. Yeah, but me too. Because you were saying, well, because that were we talking about the move to New Hampshire? The move, yeah, you had moved to New Hampshire around January 23rd. She began asking for 2,000 a month and then threatening to take the kids. But that was when she asked for 2,000 a month. That was in August or September. Okay, when we first got to Minnesota. Yeah, and then Yeah, it's basically. Um, of New Hampshire up to now. Once I got to New Hampshire, then she got very aggressive about how she was going to keep Phelan in Minnesota unless I started paying her money.
very aggressive about how she was going to keep Valen in Minnesota unless I started paying her money.
And she got into a whole thing, and it got really bad when we had a
That
phone
was the
call,
whole thing.
to where she was yelling that she was going to have me arrested, and she was just straight up lying about, yeah, I'm gonna wait on that, but because I need and I would like to remember exactly what our phone call was before I start guessing.
I would like to remember exactly what our phone call was before we started guessing.
But anyways, she was basically threatening
She was
to, like,
basically threatening
put me in
to
prison and take the kids away and all this stuff, and I did not bite. I just was saying, I'm not going to play these games," and the conversation just ended.
um, and the conversation just ended.
And I had again, I was reaching out to her family, was talking to her, her, I guess, a little bit more details, but her dad is her adopted dad, and he's in a different relationship, and then her mom is in a different relationship, but I kept in touch with both of them.
He's in a different relationship, and then her mom is in a different relationship. Um, but I kept in touch with both of them, and this
And
is
this is
something I
something I
did
did
the
the entire
entire
time.
time.
So
So
this
this
past like year, really, I have been in contact with both of them, both families, trying to talk everything out. Because my conversations with Caitlyn would never go anywhere. So I was trying to get her family to help me out.
and so I was trying to get her family to help him.
But anyway, so I had talked to both of their families and saying kind of what was going on. By that time, Caitlin had stopped talking to her mom altogether and told me not to talk to her mom. However, I did reach out to her mom after she like threatened to arrest me and stuff and take the kids away.
However, I did reach out to her mom after she like threatened to arrest me, so take the kids away.
But I had also been talking to her dad about it, but she doesn't tell anyone anything. So even when her dad tried to, he went to her where she was staying, the house she was staying, and I was
So he
basically
was
just
trying
trying to
to
be like trying to ask him, "Hey, can you check on Valen?" Because I wasn't seeing Valen. So I
I was
basically
basically
was
just
like,
trying to
"Hey, is Valen
ask him,
is okay?"
can you check on Valen? Because I wasn't seeing Valen. So basically, like, hey, Valen, okay?
And he went over there, and apparently Valen was just sleeping, and then he didn't ask to see Valen. And then but he just didn't push it either because she wouldn't tell him anything, and he didn't push the subject.
Because she wouldn't tell him anything, and he didn't push the subject. So he,
So and this again, this is in text, but he just basically texted back to me saying, like, yeah, she just doesn't tell me anything. So he just texted me, hey, I went over there. Valen was asleep, so he didn't see her. And then I was basically saying, "Oh, so she just, like she didn't say anything?" I'm like, "Nothing was happening? Like, she didn't just have the explosive argument?" And he just said, "No."
no,
And I'm not going to get obviously, again, the text will show what exactly his words were, but he basically just said, "Yeah, she doesn't tell me anything." But after I had reached back out to my Minnesota lawyer, because I was really afraid that something would start up,
reached back
that
out
she
to my
would
Minnesota lawyer because I was really afraid that something would start, that
she would try to lie about
she would try to
something.
lie about something.
I guess I'll say in general, again, I
I
don't
guess I'll
remember.
say in
Like,
general,
don't quote me specifically on
I
this,
don't
but
remember.
where it was the big thing that she was lying about on our phone call was that I had taken Elowen to New Hampshire without her permission.
It would, the big thing that
Oh, okay, gotcha. Which is not true whatsoever. We didn't actually sign anything, which I did have a conversation with her about, and I had talked to some other people, because obviously that would help.
because obviously that would help. But
But I
I
also
also
felt
felt
like so
like
many
so many
people knew the
people
situation that,
this,
like, there were so many people that we had been
so many
talking
people
to.
that we've been talking
And
to.
again, her dad was at the meeting that we had in October where we were kinda talking about this, and she had agreed to it and everything. So I felt like that
So I
even
felt like that
without any sort of written
even
thing,
without any
that
sort of
that
written
just
thing,
wouldn't hold up in
that just
court.
wouldn't hold up in court.
But anyways, so, and now I forget where I was originally going with that,
So
of
so and
her.
now I forgot where I was originally at with that. With her,
So it was
it
just
was just
having the dad check on
having the
Valen.
dad check
Yeah.
on Phelan.
It's kind of leading up to, I think, and I'm not sure when Caitlyn moves to New Hampshire or comes to New Hampshire, but that's where I think we're headed.
When
Yeah.
Caitlyn comes to New Hampshire.
Zoe, no.
Yeah.
I was talking about to where I was reaching out to the same Minnesota attorney that I had been talking to previously. I reached out to her again and was saying, "Hey, I think, like, she's gonna try and pull something."
She's gonna try and pull something.
Like,
Oh,
oh,
and
and
this
this
is
is
where
where
I'm
I'm
going
going
because I was
because I was
afraid that
afraid
she
that
was
she
going
was
to
going to
lie
lie
to
to
police
police
or
or
whoever,
whoever,
and
and I was gonna have some, like, raid on the house randomly, which I would hope that no one would do because you would like some sort of due diligence instead of just, like, randomly taking someone's word and then come to a house. So we
come to a house. And I did
But I
actually
did actually
call
call the
the
Berlin
Berlin
Police
Police
Department
Department
too
too
because my
because
lawyer, I was
I was
asking,
asking
again, my lawyer, like, "Hey, should I, like, give the police a heads up and be like, 'Yeah, there's a civil thing going on?'"
going on.
And she's trying to make some stuff up, so I did actually call the Berlin Police Department. I'm just curious, it's not totally relevant. I'm just curious. So you came here January 23rd. When did you call Berlin Police? Do you remember what month? Or I don't. Again, that's
Again, I don't want to assume, but it sounds like
I don't wanna assume, but it sounds like it's after several months of making some payments and so forth. Is that accurate? No, I mean, we've only been here
we've
for
only been here for just a month.
since January, a month, yeah, okay, and so you don't remember when you called just to give them a heads up, like 2 weeks ago? No, alright. Yeah, because all this stuff, like, again, with the Berlin Police Department, like that, obviously the call will obviously it's going to have that. I don't even know if you can get the actual voice calls.
Calls?
No. Okay, but you can have at least a call log that I did call the Berlin Police Department on whatever day it was. Yeah, and all the text messages. Yes, but anyways, but they said anyways, like, "Hey," we're like, "We wouldn't get involved anyways," and but anyways, whatever. But I talked to the lawyer, the big issue, though, was that I just didn't have money. And so the lawyer wanted a retainer, obviously, 4,000, and I was trying to figure out how to get 4,000, because my thought was, "Okay, like, this is going to go to court. He's going to refuse to bring bail in here like this is or like whatever, and continuously just make up these lies, like, she never gave me permission to take Ella in here." I was like, "Well, there's no shot, like, I have to figure out how to get this retainer
There's no shot. Like I have to
shot."
figure out how to get this retainer.
But then because of the move, I got a credit card to help with the move, and so my credit was dipping, and I tried to go to, like, the credit union right in Berlin, and I did apply there to try and get 4,000.
And I tried to go to like the credit union, right?
So I do not care.
And I did apply there to try and get 4,000, and
And they actually denied me, and it was mainly just because of my income, because I couldn't show any income outside of the VA disability, but, they denied me. I was like, "Really? I didn't wanna sell my car. I do, my car's paid off."
my car's paid off.
but I did not want to sell my car, so I was really trying to figure out, like, how to pay for some of the stuff without selling my car. Mhm. But after having conversations with, like, getting back to her dad saying, "Oh, like, she didn't say anything, and, like, apparently everything's just fine." Then I texted her. Again, this is on the text to where I was like, I guess part of her argument to where
I guess part of her argument to where again to where
again, to this big one to where she was, like, threatening to arrest me or whatever, to where she was
and she
asking
asked
for
if
more money, but part of
for
that
that to
too was that she wanted to put, both the kids on her taxes, and all I said and I that sucks that you
and
can't
all
get the
I
voice
said,
calls,
that sucks that you can't get the voice calls,
but, hopefully over time, my word will hold some weight, but, now I forget. Where was I at?
hold some weight.
The voice call. Zoe, slow it down. Sorry. Oh my god. Yeah, I think she was, oh, yeah, to where um, she wanted to put both the kids on her taxes,
Both the kids on her taxes.
and
And
I was thinking
I
about
was
it
thinking
for a
about it for
minute,
a minute.
and again, like, I will say I was not biting on her, like, overly aggressive, like,
Overly
"I'm
aggressive.
gonna arrest you." I was just kinda like, "Yeah, I'm not playing these games." But, basically, when she said, "Oh, I'm gonna," because that's how definitely she
Basically, when
put
she
it,
said, "Oh,
she's
I'm
going to
gonna,"
put the kids on her taxes.
because
That made me second guess because I wasn't sure if, there was
that made me
something
second
like,
guess
does
because I
that
wasn't
would that give
sure.
leverage in, like, custody or something
I
like
wasn't
that?
sure if there was something like, does that would that give leverage in like custody or something like that? So on the phone
So
call,
on the
I
phone call, I
literally
literally
said,
just
I
said
didn't
I
even
didn't
say
even say
no.
no. I
I
just
just
said,
said,
"Well, let me get back to you because 'cause I'm
well,
not
let me get
sure."
back to you
Like,
because I'm not sure.
and I openly said,
And I
"Fine,
openly
you can
said,
claim
fine,
Valen," but,
you
like,
can claim Valen,
Ellen's with me right
but
now.
like
She was
Ellen's
like,
with me
"You
right
left her
now.
in
She was like,
Nevada." Like, I had her
you left
most of
her
the
in
time
Nevada.
in
Like I had
Minnesota.
her most of the time in Minnesota.
No, no, so my
So
initial
my
thought was, well, if
initial
there's
thought
something
was,
like
well, if there's
custody-wise, I don't wanna agree to anything right now. And so I literally just
so
said,
I
"Well, let
literally
me look
just said,
into
well,
it."
let me
But,
look into it.
anyways, it
But
obviously went she didn't like that, but,
she didn't like that. But
now going back, to after I had heard her dad telling me, "Oh, like, she was acting like nothing different had been happening." Then I texted her saying, "Will you bring Valen out here if I just agree to you putting Elowen and Valen on your taxes?"
then I
And she
texted
just
her
simply
saying,
put, "Yes." And so then I was like,
will you
"Okay."
will you
So
bring Valen out
she
here
agreed
if
to
I
do it.
just agree to you putting Llama and Valen on your taxes? And she just simply put yes. And so then I was like, okay. So she agreed to do it.
By the way, I did pay for her plane ticket. That's probably she bought
she bought
this is probably an important
this
part
is
of it.
probably
She bought the plane ticket
she bought the plane
already.
ticket
She did.
already.
And then I then mailed her the amount. So she texted me like the receipt, and then I then mailed her the amount
So she
for the
texted me
ticket.
like the receipt, and I mailed her the amount for the ticket.
So that
So
obviously that would be
obviously that
another
would be
part
another
of
part of
like
like
evidence of how like I wasn't like
evidence of
coercing her to
how
do this,
like
like
I
she
wasn't
did this
coercing
stuff.
her to do this. Like she did this stuff, and then
Yeah.
um,
And then, so it wasn't like, well, whatever.
so it wasn't like, well,
Anyways,
whatever.
was it a round trip? I'm just curious. Yes.
So she,
Okay, so she was planning on going back. Yes. Okay. And yes, that is important. And that obviously, well, obviously,
and
for both.
well, obviously, you can
What's that?
for both
For
her
both
and
her and
Valen.
Valen round trip. Well,
I think
because
It was
she's
when was
one, she
when was
doesn't
the
need a
wedding?
ticket. Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And
I was
I was
gonna
fine with
get
that.
to that too because but anyway, okay.
Um,
So yeah, but
um,
anyways, so yeah, and
okay.
again, this is all in text.
So yeah,
I
she
texted her back,
and again, this is all
and I
tests.
think this was after like a
I
week
texted
of
her
no
back.
contact. I
This is
basically
after
just texted her, "Hey, will you still bring Valen out here if you
okay.
or if I say yes to you putting both kids on your taxes?"
Or if I say yes to you putting both the kids on your taxes,
And she just one word,
yes.
yes. So I said,
So I said,
okay.
okay.
And then we continued to
So we
try and
started meeting,
plan. And
and
this was another
this
text
was
that is
another
going to be
text
very
that is
relevant.
going to be very relevant.
But, and actually, I can't remember what she had
And
text
actually, I can't
previously.
remember
That'd be kind of
what she had
useful to
texted
have that stuff.
previously. It'd be kind of useful to have that stuff, but
But somehow
somehow the
the
conversation
text conversation got into like,
got into
what were her plans
what
of
were her
being here?
plans of being
Like,
here?
what was she trying to do? And I texted something
And
along the lines
I
of, I'm
texted something
assuming that
along
you're
the
going to
lines
want
of,
to stay at the house
I'm
for at
assuming
least a few days.
that you're going to want to stay at the
Go down.
house for at least a few days. Um, and this was
And this was
because
because I'm like, well, why would you come here and not want to see like Ellen or whatever? And she then texted,
she then texted,
no, I don't want to.
no, I don't want to,
And then again, and you can look at
after
the
the
text. So
text,
I'm going to
refer
refer
to
to
the
the text.
text.
So
So
I'm not going to be,
not going to
my
be,
memory isn't going to be
but
perfect,
it was
but it was
something along
something
the
along
lines
the
of,
lines of, no, I
no,
don't want to
I
feel
don't want to
trapped
feel
there
trapped there
at your
at your
house.
house.
And
And
so
so
I just said,
I
okay,
just said, okay,
because
because
that
that
made it
made it
super simple
super
for
simple
me.
for me.
Like, that
Like
means that
that
all she
means
wants
that
to
all
do is
she
just
wants to
drop
do
off
is
Valen
drop
and
off
leave.
Valen
And
and
I'm like,
leave.
perfect. So then that was always the plan.
So then that was always the plan.
Now going forward
Going
to, I
forward
guess it would
to
have been the 27th when she got here. Was the 27th a Tuesday? Can't look at my
27th
phone.
when she got here. It was 27th Tuesday. I can't look at my phone.
Yeah, the 28th. This is leap year. So 29th was Thursday.
Thursday.
Yeah. Yeah, Thursday.
So
So I
I
believe
believe Tuesday
Tuesday
was
was
the
the
27th,
27th, which was when
which
she
was when
flew
she
in
flew
here.
in here.
She was then texting
She
me
was then
about
texting
how,
me about
and I
how,
don't know how, I don't know. I don't know how much to actually talk about because I don't know
I don't
what's
know
even
how,
relevant or what even matters.
I don't know. I don't know how much to actually talk about because I don't know what's even relevant or what even matters.
But I'll
Um,
say it because
but I'll say it
my
because
thought process is like
my
everything is
thought
relevant.
process is like everything is relevant.
But
But anyways,
anyway, she had
she had
texted,
texted,
I think on
I
the
think on the
27th or on the
27th or on the
26th, so a
26th,
Monday or
so
Tuesday,
Monday or
about
Tuesday,
how she now had to pay
about
for
how
her
she now had to
transportation and
pay for her
food and all this
transportation
stuff. And so she
and
wanted
food
money. And
and all this
again,
stuff.
this is
And
in
so
the
she wanted
text.
money. And this is in texts.
So my response
So
was
my
just,
response
well,
was just,
I
well,
don't have money to send you. And my
I
text
don't
was
have money
basically
to
something
send
along
you.
the lines of,
My text was
I was trying to
basically
save a couple
I was
$100,
trying to
and I
save
think I
a
did
couple
say
hundred
200
bucks,
bucks.
and
I
I
was
think
trying
I
to
did
save
say
200
200
bucks
bucks. I
just
was
for
trying to
when
save 200 bucks
Valen
just for
got
when
here,
Valen
and
got
so I
here,
could get her like whatever she needed.
like whatever she needs.
So like stuff like,
Stuff like
because the house has floorboard heaters, and so stuff like, well, I probably need to get like a barrier for the floor heaters so she can't get in front of it. It was like stuff like that and like food for her. So
So
like
like,
I
well,
wanted to try
I
and
wanted
make
to
sure
try
that I
and make
had
sure that I
200
had
bucks, and I
200
was
bucks,
like,
and I was like,
I can
I can
send you
send you
100
100
bucks
bucks
if that will make a
if that will
difference.
make a
I will send you
difference.
100
I will send
bucks.
you
And she
100
said,
bucks.
okay. And
And
so
she
I
said,
sent her
okay.
100
And I sent
bucks.
her 100 bucks.
And then, so I didn't hear anything on Tuesday, which I wasn't
So I
planning
didn't hear
to.
anything on
But
Tuesday,
then on
which was
Wednesday was supposed to be when we were meeting up to
Wednesday was supposed to
for
be
her to drop off Valen. Brenda lives
for
in
her to drop off
Hampton, which
Valen.
was where so Caitlin flew into Boston.
Brenda lives in Hampton, which was where so Caitlin flew into Boston.
I was going to ask you that. I'm assuming Brenda picked her up from the airport. I don't actually know though. Okay. But I'm assuming she picked her up from the airport, Boston, and then brought her to Hampton. Again, I'm assuming she's staying. She's not. She wasn't staying with Bryn. I shouldn't even say that. I don't even know if she was staying with Brenda or not. She might have been staying in one of her properties because I think she has a couple like seasonal properties. So that's I'm assuming she was staying at a rental property. But anyways, so there's obviously really that's like over 3 hours from Berlin, Hampton to Berlin. And so I was basically, and again, this is all in text. I was basically saying, like, well, okay, well, let's try and meet in the middle because I don't really want to drive 6 hours and whatever. So I basically picked a spot pretty much right in the middle. So, I mean, it was like Ossipee, Ossipee, yeah. And it was, we agreed to meet at it was like Harley Jack's. The turkey, no? Barley Jacks. Yeah, we're a ways from there, but yeah, we can figure that out. Yeah, yeah, it was just like a sort of like restaurant that was like right on 16. Okay. Because obviously that's why I was trying to be like, well, okay, let's try and meet somewhere in the middle. So it was like an hour and a half drive for both of us. So then, but I was texting her, like trying to get her questions of like, okay, so Brenda's driving you there? And then she said that Brenda was just dropping her off. And then that made me text like, well, okay. And again, these are in the text, to where I then was asking, like, well, okay, is she picking you up afterwards? And she just never responded to that. But I was just immediately confused because I'm like, is she just going to leave and then come back? Because that doesn't make any sense. Because, like, why would you leave, drive an hour and a half back to Hampton, and then what? Like, are we planning to be at the restaurant for like 5 hours? No, but anyways, but she never responded to that. I got there. She then texted that something had happened to her washer and dryer or something like that. And so they were like an hour late, which was fine. I was just there. We were just hanging out. Elwin and I were just hanging out at that restaurant. Then she got dropped off. So she called me to come outside. Once she got dropped off, so I never even saw Brenda. She just got dropped off. And then I came out to the front of the restaurant. She had Valen's. She had a couple of bags of Valen's stuff. And she said, hey, here's the stuff. Like basically saying she didn't want to bring it inside. So I should just take it and put it in the trunk. So that's what I did. Just grab the stuff and put it in the trunk. And then we went inside and just ate. And obviously, I hadn't seen Valen in like over a month at that point. And she had obviously not seen Elowen. And so there wasn't much conversation between Caitlyn and I. It was more so of like, I'm just super excited to see Valen. And that was just kind of like, that was where my head was. And then after a while, she started, which is something she does because she doesn't want to talk to me. So she'll talk to our kids, like with me there. And so she was like, hey, should I come to your house? Like asking Elowen that. And immediately I was like, and again, obviously none of this would have happened if I followed my gut. But I immediately was like, this feels like a bad idea, because this was never part of the plan. She specifically said she did not. And again, it's in the text that she did not want to come to the house because she didn't want to feel trapped. But anyways, I immediately just I was not happy about it, and I started asking, like,
I immediately just, I was not happy about it, and I started asking, like, well, where's Brenda?
"Well, where's Brenda? Like, is she not coming back to pick you up?" And she was just saying, "No."
She was
And I
just
just
saying,
decided, like, okay, if she just wants to come here, see the place, and then, like,
suspected,
stay the night,
like,
I guess with the kids,
if,
fine. But
if
she
she
was
just
not
wants
going
to
to
come
stay there
here,
any longer than that.
see the place, and then, like, stay the night, I guess, with the kids, fine. But she was not going to stay there any longer than that.
So we
So
went back. I
I drove
drove her
her
up to the
to the
place.
place.
Then everything was fine that night.
Then
I set up because before my
everything was
pods
fine
or the remainder
that
of our
night.
stuff I had in pods
I
from
set up
Nevada. Before I had that shipped out, I got an air mattress for Elwin and I to
all the
sleep on.
pods that were in
So I had
shipped
an air
I had
mattress.
pods from Nevada. Before I had that shipped out, I got an air mattress for Illinois to sleep on, so I had an air mattress. So
So
that
that
night,
night, which would have
yeah,
been Wednesday night,
that's right.
then she stayed the night there,
She stayed the night
pulled
there,
out that air
pulled out
mattress,
that
and
air
everything was
mattress,
fine. Again, we didn't talk much. It was just like,
and
again, I was just happy to have Valen there.
again, we didn't talk much. It was just like, again, I was just happy to have Bailey there.
And what I would
What I would assume
assume is that she was happy
is
to be
that
with
she
Elowin.
was happy to
The
be with
next day, though, I
Elwin.
kept asking, and I should say this too. The
The
previous night,
the next day, though,
when I was saying, like,
I kept
basically,
asking,
whenever I was asking about,
and I
"Hey,
should say
like, is
this,
Brenda going to come
whenever
and
it
get
was,
you?"
um, when I when I was saying, like, basically whenever I was asking about, hey, like, is Brenda gonna come and get you, or like, what's
Or,
the
like,
plan?
"What's the
She
plan?"
would
She would
never
never
answer
answer that
that question.
question. And so that
So
night,
that night,
I didn't push it because I really didn't want to.
I didn't push it
Because it's like,
because I
whatever.
really didn't
It's
want to.
difficult to deal with her. So I just let the night be.
Because it's like, whatever, it's difficult to deal with her. So I just let the night be.
And then the following day, I started asking her,
I started
"Hey,
asking her, hey,
when's Brenda
when's
coming to
Brenda
pick you
coming to
up?"
pick you
And
up?
she was
And
at
she
first
was
just refusing to
at
answer.
first just
Like,
refusing
she
to
wouldn't do
answer.
anything. She would just go into the kids' room and just, like, play with the
Go into the
kids.
kids' room and just
And so I'd just
just
be,
play with
like,
the kids.
literally, like, standing at the door, like, "Is Brenda picking you
Picking
up?
you up,
Like, what are you doing?" And
and
she
she just
just wouldn't
wouldn't answer.
answer.
And
And I was very calm the entire time, just every,
I
like,
was
15 minutes, and I'm like, "Hey,
very
what's the
calm the
plan?"
entire
And
time,
eventually,
just
she just
every
started
like
saying that
15
she
minutes,
wasn't going to leave.
like, hey, what's the plan? And eventually, she just started saying that she wasn't going to leave.
And then we got into a conversation of,
And
"No, you texted you didn't
we
want
got
to
into a
even be
conversation
here in
of,
the
no,
first,
you texted, you didn't even want to
and
be
I
here in the
didn't
first
want you here.
place. And
I
I
didn't
didn't
plan
want
for
you here.
this. Like, we
I
have,
didn't
like,
plan for
me and the
this.
kids,
Like, we have
whatever. Like, we weren't planning on you even being
me and
here
the
in the
kids,
first
whatever.
place.
Like, we weren't
Like, I don't
planning on
want you
you even
here."
being here in the first place. Like, I don't want you here.
And then
She
she
just
just
said,
said,
no,
"No,
I'm
I'm
staying here.
staying here and I'm not leaving." And that went on
And
the
that went
entire
on
day
the
of her
entire day
refusing to leave. And as it
of her refusing
escalated
to
more and
leave.
more, she started getting
As
more
it
and more
escalated more and
aggressive
more,
about how,
she started
"No, I'm going to
getting
take the
more and
kids
more
away
aggressive
from you.
about how, no, I'm going to take the kids away from you. I'm going to call
I'm
the
going to call the
cops.
cops. I'm going to get
I'm
you
going to get you
arrested,"
arrested.
all this stuff.
All this
And
stuff.
then, obviously, as things got more and more aggressive, if you can tell by kind of like my demeanor, I'm a very calm person.
As things got more and more
I think everyone
aggressive,
you can ask anyone, I'm a very
if
calm
you can
person.
tell by kind of my demeanor, I'm a very calm person. I think everyone, you can ask anyone, I'm a very calm person.
It takes a lot
Gets
to
me
get me
riled
riled
up.
up. but that is the one thing, and I there is definitely a lot more to my emotional attachment to the kids, but that is the one thing that does set me off. It is, like, these continued threats of taking the kids away from me.
to the kids, but that is the one thing that does set me off is like these continued threats of taking the kids away from me.
And it was just getting to the point to where just the entire day of
Because
me
it's
trying to
always
be like, "You cannot be
it's like
here. Call Brenda," and I didn't have Brenda's number, and I was literally thinking, like, "I need to text someone to try and get Brenda's number so I can talk to her and try to be like,
Brenda's number so I can talk to her. Trying to be like, hey,
"Hey, you need to come get her." But yeah, I didn't have her number, and I just didn't get that. But, yeah, it just got to the point to where she kept doing that, and then I guess for what obviously we're all
it
here
just got to
about.
the point to where she kept doing that. And then I guess for the what obviously we're all here about.
There was probably
There's
a
probably a
good
good
half
half
an hour up to where she grabbed
to
Elowen.
where
I was not letting Elowen
she
go.
grabbed
I had taken Valen and put her in a car seat and was like, "No, we need to
I had
go."
taken
And I
Valen
was
and put
like,
her
"I
in
don't
a
even
car seat.
care if Brenda
And I was
comes
like,
here or
no, we
not.
need to go. And I was like, I don't even care if Brenda comes here or not. Like, I
Like,
will
I will
drive
drive
you
you 3
3
hours down
hours
to
down to
Hampton.
Hampton.
I
I
do
do
not
not care,
care, but we're going
but
to
we're
leave.
going to leave.
You cannot be here anymore." And then again, it was just the
It was
progressive,
just
like, whatever,
progressive,
her
like,
again threatening to take the kids and, saying
her
that
again threatening to
yeah,
take the kids. Um, saying that, yeah, she
she just
wasn't
wasn't going to leave and that she was
going to
going to
take
take Valen and Elowen back to Minnesota and all this stuff. And it's just kind of hit a breaking point. And especially with her holding Elowen in her arms and not letting her go.
in her arms and not letting her go
Because there were a couple times when I went up and I grabbed Elowen and was like, "Let go of Elowen."
let go.
I will say I never,
I will say
not that it even matters, but I'll just say, I never, like, hit her or punched her or anything like that,
never hit
Caitlyn,
her.
but obviously that's whatever.
Obviously, that's whatever.
Anyways, but I was trying to grab
Anyways,
Elowen and be like, "Hey,
grab
let go
Elowen
of Elowen,"
and
and
be
she
like,
just
"Hey, let
wouldn't
go of
do it.
Elowen."
And that
And
was
that was
kind of the tick.
kind of
And the
the
moment
tick.
was, and this, because
And the
it's
moment was, and this, because it's,
I can turn those wheels. It
is,
was, I don't even know. I mean, I don't even know if it was like training or not, but it was
I
definitely
don't even
very
know if it
deliberate
was like
and
training
fast.
or not, but it was
It was like
very
the line had been
deliberate
crossed
and
and my
fast.
mind was just
And it
like
was like,
snapped.
it was like the line had been crossed and my mind was just like snapped.
And my
And my
gun,
gun,
so I guess I'll set the scene
so I guess I'll
while
set the
you've,
scene.
and I assume people have seen the scene. She was on the
I assume
couch
people have seen
holding
this.
Elowen and not letting her
She was on
go.
the couch
My gun was on my desk to the left. And
and
after a
my
couple
gun was
times of me trying to grab Valen and her, sorry, Elowen, and
after
her
a couple
not
of
letting
times of me trying to
go,
grab Valen and her, or, sorry, Elowen, and her not letting go. It was
it was
very,
very, very
very
fast, very
fast, very
deliberate.
deliberate.
I went and grabbed the gun.
I went and
I am
grabbed the gun.
someone who does not keep a
I am
round
someone who does
chambered,
not keep
but it
a
was
round
just
chambered,
very quick.
but
I
it
just
was just
like
very quick.
grabbed
I
it,
just like grabbed it,
chambered it,
chambered it,
grabbed Elowen,
grabbed
pulled her
Elowen,
back, and
pulled
shot.
her back, and shot.
Um, and it
And it
was
was
very
very
immediate.
immediate on
obviously, what was big in my head is Ellen went
big in
yelling.
my head.
She saw anything. She definitely heard it, obviously, and that was
Really,
and I had
really close, and
conversations
I
with her.
don't think she saw anything. She definitely heard it, obviously, and that was, and I had conversations with her.
She was complaining about her ears, that it was very loud,
She was complaining
obviously.
about her ears,
When all that
obviously,
happened, and which again, it happened super fast.
but
I mean, there was again, it was like
all that
training
happened
to where it was
together
just grabbed it, cocked it,
super
grabbed
fast.
Eloin,
And it was, again, it was like training to where it's just grab it, cocked, grab element,
and
and
then
then
right when I
shot.
shot, it
And
was
then it was just
just
like,
immediately
I grabbed
Eloin
element,
and, like,
and
ran out
then
of the
ran out of
house
the
and
house,
just
and just
immediately
immediately
ran out
ran
of the
out of the
house
house
and
and
put her
put her
in the
in the car.
car. Um,
Valen
Valen
was
was
already in
already in
another
another room.
room.
She was
She
closer to
was
the
closer to
door
the
in
door
her, car
in
seat.
her car seat, yeah.
Car seat, yeah. Um, and so
And so
immediately
immediately
I go run and
I
I
go
put
run and I
Eloin in
put
the car,
Eloin in the car,
and I
and I,
if you saw the layout, there's
if you saw the
garages in the back. My car was in one of the
there's
garages.
garages in the back.
But I ran and put her in,
Garages,
and then I backed the car out
ran
to
and
the
put her
back
in, and I
door.
backed the car out to the back door. Um,
And I sat for a minute, like talking to
I
Eloin.
sat for a minute,
And for one, I was making sure that nothing had happened to
for
her.
one, I was making sure that
And I
nothing
know
had happened
her.
to
She was
her.
just complaining, like, ah,
I
loud.
know her.
That's what she was
She was just
saying.
complaining like
Loud,
loud, loud.
loud.
That's what she was saying, loud, loud.
And so I was
So
trying to check that to make
trying
sure
to
nothing
check
else
that
was
to make
going
sure
on,
nothing
like she didn't have any
else
injuries or anything like that, and she didn't. I couldn't really check for her hearing, obviously. I mean, I'm sure it was
check
super
for her
loud.
hearing, obviously.
But anyways,
I'm sure it was super loud. But anyways, then at that
and then
point,
at that point, it was just kind of like, well, now I'm
it
screwed.
was just
To
kind of
where
like,
I understood what had happened. And I still
I
do. I
understood
understand the consequences.
to
But
where
anyways, in that moment,
I understood when it happened. And I still do. I understand the consequences. But anyways, in that moment,
again,
it
I'm
was
just a
a
very
very calm
calm
person.
person. And
Actually,
actually, I deal like when I do my
when I do
best is under
my best is under
stress.
stress.
And so I felt like I had a very
I had a
clear
clear
head
head. I was
and
like,
was like,
well,
well, I guess I want to spend a bit of time with the kids before I have to be here.
I guess I want to spend a bit of time with the kids before I have to be here. So what I did
So what I
was
did was I went through the
I
house, kind of grabbed clothes, some food, water, stuff like that, loaded up,
clothes, food,
obviously,
water,
with what's in my
stuff
car
like
right
that,
now.
loaded up obviously with what's
I
in my
loaded
car
that
right
up
now.
and left. I don't know time frame. I couldn't say how fast I was. Fairly fast.
Time frame, I couldn't say how fast I
Sorry,
was.
guys. It's kind of starting to get to me a
But
little bit.
anyways,
But I got the
I
kids in the
got the
car
kids in the car
and we
and we drove
left
for a little bit
just to get
just
out
to
of
get
the
out of the
area
area
because I
because I
figured
figured
someone heard something, maybe.
someone heard something, maybe.
But
So I
anyways,
just wanted
I
to
just wanted to get out of the
just get
area
out of the
and then
area
just talk
and
to
then just
Elowen
talk
because
to Elowen
Valen was
because
fine. She didn't, I mean, she was in another room, but I
was
then
was
just
in
kind
another
of
room,
sat with Elowen. I was kind of being like, kind of talking her through like
kind of talking her
what
through
had happened.
like what happened. I was trying
I
to
was
ask her
trying to ask her like, hey, what happened? What did you see? And for her, she was just saying it was loud.
for
hmm
her, she was just saying it was loud.
Um, and she wasn't saying anything else. And so that was kind of my biggest thing of like,
she
I
was
just
listening
really hope she
closely
didn't actually
as
see
to what I was
anything.
kind of
And then it
gazing
was just a loud noise. And she just, like,
at
because
those
of that,
people
she
in
just
the
closed her
houses.
eyes or whatever and
And
was
there
just
was a lot
doing
of
this.
noise. And she just, like, because of that, she just closed her eyes or whatever. And I was just doing this. It's like,
Or my hope. And it seems like
it
that's all
seems
it
like
was. I
that's
still hope that
all
that's
it was. That's
obviously
all
all
it
it
was.
was.
That's all it
She
was.
was good though, after. So, anyways, I
She was
checked
good though.
on her after driving a little bit, just basically out of Berlin.
So
And then I was
I
just
checked on
kind
her
of,
after driving a little bit, just basically out of
or
Berlin.
my hope.
And
Oh,
then
wait, that's the same one.
I was just kind of trying to
Kind of
plan
trying
what
to
I was going
plan
to
what
do
I was going to do because
because
kind of immediately I kind of knew what was going to happen. Like, it doesn't
I kind of
matter.
knew what was
I
going to happen.
understand. And it doesn't matter how I
Like
feel.
it doesn't
It
matter.
doesn't matter if she was
I
threatening,
understand,
whatever.
and it doesn't matter how I feel. It doesn't matter if she was threatening, whatever.
I fully understand the
I fully understand
consequences and what that means.
the
And I kind of
consequences
immediately was
and what that
thinking,
means.
well, okay,
I kind of immediately
at some point, I'm
was
just
thinking,
going to turn myself in, but I
at
don't know
some
when I'm
point,
going to see the
I'm
kids
going to turn
again.
myself in,
So I'm going to spend
but
some time with them.
I don't know when I'm going to see the kids again. So I'm going to spend some time with them.
So I
So
drove. Before anything else, I was kind of trying to
I drove.
think in my head, and I drove to
Before
Concord.
anything else,
Once I
I
got
was
to
trying to
Concord, then I
think
kind
in
of
my head.
sat with Elowen and Valen again. And at that point, they were both good and they were happy.
Once I got to Concord, then I kind of sat with Ellen and Valen again, and at that point, they were both good and they're happy.
Um, I I hope that there's
I
no
hope that
issues
there's
with
no
this,
issues
and there really shouldn't be.
with this.
Anyway, whatever. Um, I
I
I'm
hope
getting
that
ahead of
there really
myself.
shouldn't be. Anyway, whatever.
When we got to Concord, I was kind of again. I sat down with the kids and was like in the car, obviously.
I'm getting ahead of myself. When we got to Concord, I was kind of again. I sat down with the kids and was like, in the car, obviously.
And we
And
were
I
kind
was
of all sitting in the front, and they were all better. They were both better.
they were all
Like
better.
Elowen wasn't crying, and
Like
she was
Ellen wasn't
good.
crying.
She seemed happy again. And
She seemed happy again.
from my own, like,
Um,
hey, I
and
just want to record something
from
while
my
we're here.
own like, hey, I just want to record something while we're here.
So I did
So
take
I
out my phone and I just
I
recorded
just
us.
recorded us.
Basically, I was just saying, I love
Basically, I
you
was just
to the
saying I love you
kids.
to
And
the
Ellen
kids.
said it back, and she was saying it to
And Ellen
Valen.
said it
And
back,
basically,
and she
I
was saying
got
it
the
to Valen.
recording.
And basically, I got the recording.
And I had decided I'm going to
And I
tell someone
decided
because there may
I'm
be
going to tell
as a
someone
possibility that no one heard
because
anything at
there
the
maybe
house
is a
or nothing
possibility
had happened or like,
that no one heard anything at the
yeah,
house or nothing had happened or like yeah, like no one had heard
like
anything.
no one had heard anything or
And I
whatever.
decided
And I decided I was going to call my mom. And so I
and
sent her the
so
video of me and the girls in
I
the
sent
car.
her
And then I
the video
immediately called and told her what had happened.
and the girls
She was obviously
in the car.
distraught.
And then I immediately called and told her what had happened. Um, she was obviously distraught.
The conversation didn't go very long because I didn't want it to.
Conversation went
Obviously,
very
as a
long.
mom, she's trying to be supportive, but there's not obviously,
It's always
there's
the mom that
whatever.
screams.
Anyways, but I basically
Most of the
said,
time, but there's not. Obviously, there's whatever. Anyways, but I basically said, "Hey,
"Hey, you
you
should
should
probably call the
probably call
cops."
the cops,
And especially too, because I
especially
didn't
too
want to call
because
her
I
and
didn't want to
say,
call
and
her
for her to
and
like
say,
somehow be complicit
and
of
for
like
the
me calling
cops
her and then
to
her not
somehow
calling the
be
cops.
calling her and then her not calling the
Put that
cops.
on your parents. Fuck you.
So
Yeah.
I
So which is
finally got
my
my
point
words
of when I
together
asked you earlier of how did
and
they know? Because I was
got the phone
wondering
ready for
if it was
me.
my mom.
There is a note that
There is a note that
you
you're
called somebody
there's a
in
note that you
Minnesota.
called somebody in Minnesota, but I don't think
So
so. It's
it's
just
just
whatever
whatever
our
our
dispatchers
dispatchers
are
are putting
putting
in.
in. So
So
there
there
is a
is a
note that you
note
called
that you
somebody,
called somebody,
but I'd have to talk to somebody that has a little bit more info. That's probably a safe assumption. So that's
So
was basically what I
that's
said.
basically what I said. And then I
And
said,
then I said,
from
"From here
here
on
on
out,
out,
though, I'm I'm
I'm
going to
going to
go
go
dark
dark
and that I'm turning off my phone, and I just want" and I told her this, like,
and I
"I'm
told
going to
her
turn
this,
myself
like,
in,
I'm
but I
going to turn
want some
myself
time with the
in,
kids before I do it."
but I want some time with the kids before I do it.
Um, and then that's when I hung up and I turned my phone off. I ended up driving to I don't know where in New York. I was getting close to New York City
I don't
West.
know where in New York. I was getting close to New York City West.
I don't remember. I don't. I don't really know New York, but it was like west of New York City, maybe northwest. And I guess there's
And I
stuff
guess
going
there's
on in
stuff going
between
on in
too,
between
like
too,
just
like just
making random
making random
stops or
stops or
whatever.
whatever.
And
And just
just
like
like if the
if
kids were awake and like hanging out with them for a minute. But I got down to New York and then
I got down to
just
New
kind of
York
laid in
and
the
then
back seat with the kids for a minute.
just kind of laid in the backseat with the kids for a minute.
Got like a couple hours of sleep. The kids they were sleeping on and off through the whole thing. But anyways, they were sleeping good. But and we all just laid in the back and slept for a
And we
couple
just laid in the
hours.
back and slept for a couple hours, and then
And then woke up and at that point,
woke up,
that was
and
kind of when I was deciding
that was
because
kind of when I
my
was
initial
deciding
thought was, well, I'll
because
just
my
surrender
initial
at
thought
just
was,
a random
well, I'll
police
just
department.
surrender at just a random police department.
But then I kind of decided, you know
But
what?
then I
I
kind
should
of
probably do
decided,
it in New
you know what?
Hampshire
I should
instead of just random,
probably
like
do it in New
whatever in New
Hampshire
York or whatever, Vermont.
instead of just random, like whatever, New York or whatever.
So
So then I
then I
started
started
heading
heading
back,
back. And by the time I was getting near,
and by the
my
time I was
decision
getting
was,
near,
well, okay, I know that I'm going through
my
Keene.
decision
So
was,
my
well,
plan was to
I
go
know
back to
that I'm
Concord,
going
which was
through
where I originally stopped and made that
So my
call.
plan was to go back to Concord, which was where I originally stopped and made that call.
And so I was
And so
like, I guess I'll just go to Concord and then just surrender there. But like, I do want to just sit down with the girls and just have
just
breakfast
sit down
somewhere.
with the girls and just have breakfast somewhere.
And so, as we were just driving through places, I was kind of waiting to go to a restaurant until we got to New Hampshire. And I was
And I was
even
waiting
envisioning
until
this. I
we
was
got
like,
to
you know what's going to happen?
We're
We're
going to
going to
stop
stop
at
at
a
a
restaurant.
restaurant, sit down and eat, and then the cops are going to like raid the restaurant. And I had that already in my head. But anyways,
Anyways,
as we were
as we were
driving through
driving through
Keene, I
Keene,
was
I was
like,
like,
"Well,
well, okay,
okay, well,
well,
let's see what's going
and
on." And I
I
kind of
kind of
mentioned this, but as we were driving through Keene, I saw the Chili's right there, and then saw the police department, and I was like, "Well, they're probably like eating right there, and they're probably just sitting right there."
eating right
So
there,
I
and they're
just kept
probably just
driving,
sitting
and then
right
I
there.
saw the Applebee's, and was
So
like,
I
"Well,
just kept
I
driving,
guess I can
and
see
I
if
saw the
Applebee's is
Applebee's, and
open."
I was like,
And then
well, I guess I can see if Applebee's is open. And then
turned the corner, and like I
turned the
wasn't
corner,
even
and
paying attention because I was just
like
trying to
I wasn't
see if
even
the
paying
Applebee's was
attention
open.
because I was
So I
just
had
trying to
pulled
see if
into the
Apple was open.
Applebee's and was
So
trying to
I
see their
pulled into the
hours open
Applebee's and
sign.
was trying to
And
see
so I had
their
pulled up
hours
to the
open
hours
sign.
open sign and was
So I
trying to
pulled up
like
to the hours open sign and was trying to like look to
And then I see the cop pull up behind me, and I was like, "Wow." And I was really not expecting anything like that. You guys were, like, chilling at Applebee's, okay? But I pulled up,
but I pulled up.
then there was parking spots kinda
Yeah,
right
there
in
was
front of
parking
me.
spots kind of
So I
right in
pulled
front of
up
me,
into
so
the
I pulled
parking
up into the
spot,
parking spot,
and I was like,
and
"Well,"
I was like,
and the
well,
officer didn't do anything. I
and
was
the officer
assuming he
didn't
was,
do
like,
anything.
trying to
I was assuming
verify,
he
like,
was
a
trying to
license plate
verify
or
like a
something like
license plate or
that.
something like that. He
But
didn't
he
do
didn't do
anything
anything
at
at
first,
first,
but
but
I
I
was
was
like,
like my immediate
my
reaction was
immediate
like,
reaction was
he was just pulling me
he
over
was just pulling
just
me over
randomly
just
for
randomly for
something.
something.
But then I was
But
like,
then I
well,
was
he's
like,
going to run my plates and there's probably something out there. So something's going to happen. So I immediately, and the girls were both asleep in the back seat. So I immediately was just like, fuck, like, I'm not even going to be able to hug him. And I wanted to, but I was like, I can't move because this was the exact situation I didn't want to be in. Because I didn't want something crazy to happen. Like, I didn't want whatever someone shooting or something happening with the kids right there. And so, basically, I just sat there and I turned and I was like, kind of talked to Elowen.
Basically, I just sat there and I turned and I was like trying to talk to Ellen.
But then, yeah, immediately came out, like, obviously a gun pointed at me, yelling at me, get my hands up. And yeah. And I mean, obviously I wasn't going to fight anything. It just really sucked that I just couldn't, like hug the kids. So like that was like the big thing that was just in my head. Yeah. And then obviously the situation happened and yeah, obviously they directed me back and I was just yelling, "Hey, there's kids in the car." I was trying to make sure there's kids in the car, like, don't, I'm surrendering, like, don't get crazy. But yeah, obviously now we're here. Well, Dustin, I think you covered almost like pretty much everything. Not quite to the point where I don't have
Not quite to the
questions.
point where I don't have questions.
I do have a few kind of like, just kind of curious questions and stuff like that to clean up, more or less like a timeline. So you talked about Caitlyn flying in on the 27th. You didn't really talk or see her until the 28th. But I was wondering time you got what time you got to the restaurant in Ossipee and what time she might have gotten to the restaurant in Ossipee.
Again, you
Again,
can
you can
verify
verify
the
the text,
text.
yeah, because they're in the text. I probably got there like 4:30, and again, the text will say what the restaurant was too, but I think it was called Harley Jack's, but anyways, I think I got there right around 4:30. I don't know exactly what time she got there, but she called when she got there, and she called and just said, "Hey, come out," because she had that suitcase. So say between 5 and 6 maybe? Probably. Well, yeah, I was gonna say probably somewhere around 5:30. Okay, yeah. So what time do you think you got back to your apartment in Berlin, or is it an apartment or a house? It's a large house that has
It's a
apartments.
large house that has apartments.
Okay,
Sorry,
yeah, so I don't
I
know if
just
you
saw
saw it, I
I just
haven't.
did, but
But oh,
so
so
I
I
just
just
had
had the
the
first
first
floor
floor
of this
of this
house.
house.
That's 3 floors. And what time do you think you got back to the apartment?
That one
And I
I
have
don't
no
know
idea
because
because we were
we
at
were
the
at the
restaurant
restaurant
for a
for
bit.
a bit.
Yeah, I have no idea. And I don't even know. I don't think anyone was texting or anything.
I have no idea. And that one, and I don't even know. I don't think anyone was texting or anything.
Okay. Well,
Well, actually,
actually, I was home at this point. So this was a
I
text
was
that went
home
out
at
that
this
night.
point.
And I wish
This
I
was
could
a text
remember
that went out
what
that
I
night.
said.
And I wish I could remember what I said.
Again, just look at the text. But it was
It was
from
from
my
my
mom,
mom.
and it was
It was
something like,
something like,
"Hey,
"Hey,
is
is everything
everything
okay?"
okay?" And I think I wrote something like,
I
I don't
think
even
I
know what I
wrote
wrote.
something like,
I was saying something about like how Caitlyn was at the house.
I don't even know what I wrote. I was saying something about like how Caitlyn was at the house.
Okay.
And
And I think my mom was asking again, like, "Hey, is everything okay?" And I'm not. I don't think I actually responded to that one though. But obviously she knows about like
obviously she knew, oh, like, oh, Caitlin's
oh,
at
Kim's
the
at the
house.
house, like, oh, like what happened? But so to verify like a timeline, to
Oh,
check the
so
messages.
if to verify like timeline, when my
When my
mom
mom
texted
texted or when I
or when I
responded is
responded,
actually probably the better way. When I responded, we were home. We were at the apartment. What time is Ellen's bedtime normally? She is, I guess you could say
she's,
9 or 10,
I guess you could say
9 or 10. But for
but
me,
for me,
I'm up late. So I'm up.
I'm
It
up
depends.
late.
Like this past week, I was up till like 2
So
a.m.
I'm up. It depends. Like this past week, I was up till like 2 a.m.
hmm Pretty much every night. But she was
She
pretty like
is,
I
she
say
is
that just
pretty good.
because
Like I
Ellen, a
say
lot of
that just
times,
because
if I'm not in bed, she doesn't want to
if I'm
go to
not in
bed.
bed, she doesn't want to go to bed. So she tries
So
to
she's
hang out,
hang out.
but
When
when she
she
goes to
understands,
bed,
like, hey, I'm trying to work on stuff that I'm like, this past week, she was really good at just being like, I'm going to go to bed now. And she just goes to bed. What were the sleeping arrangements? I know you said Caitlin was on the air mattress. Yes. What room was that in?
so
So if you know the layout of the house,
if you know the
I
layout
had
of the
turned the
house,
living room into my room. And
I
probably
had
why I was
turned
doing
the
these things is
living room
irrelevant,
into
but I turned the living room into my room, and the dining room was turned
why I
into the
turned
living
these
room.
into
And both of
I
those
I
are
turned the living room into my room, and the dining room was turned into the living room. And both of those are
there are
there's
glass
glass doors
doors that shut that
that shut
separate
that
the two
separate the two
rooms,
rooms,
but I just
but
had
I
it
just
open
had
all
it
the
open all
time.
the time.
And so when you're asking the sleeping
So
arrangements, my bed is right there in that living room, like centered
the
in
bed
the living
is
room.
right there in the living room, in the center of the living room.
Okay.
And then I
And then
set
I
up
set up an
the
air
air
mattress
mattress
basically right in
basically
the
right in
doorway between the living room and my bedroom and the living room.
my
Okay.
bedroom
For Caitlin,
for kids.
I already note this for later. Yes.
So
Okay.
she was
And
right
so she
there.
was right there. And then, yeah.
Yeah.
And then
And
what ended up happening was that Valen slept with me. And for the most part, Elowen slept with her. Okay. The girls, how is it that does Elowen have her own bedroom? She does.
she
Normally.
does. So I had
So I
set
had
up
set up like the girls' room, which like again, you'll obviously know when you look at the house. But I had set it up like the girls' room,
I had
but
set it up like the girls' room, but they've never
like we tried it a little bit to get
we
Ellen to
tried it a
sleep in
little
her own
bit to
bed,
get
but she
Ellen
never
to
liked
sleep in her
to.
own bed, but she
And
never
neither
liked
one
to.
of us ever had a problem with her sleeping with
Neither
us.
one
And
of us
so
ever had a
Ellen
problem
has
with her
always
sleeping with us.
just slept with
So
us.
Ellen has always just slept with us. So
So like when Ellen and I have been here, she always just
always
sleeps in
just
my
slept in my
bed.
bed.
Okay, is she in school yet or homeschooled or I getting there? That was another thing. Oh, she had preschool set up there on well, I had to get her accepted into the Head Start preschool in Berlin, but right now they're on like a break. So I think they were
Right now,
starting
they're
up like the
on
5th,
a break, so
starting back up.
I think they were starting up like the fifth. Starting back up, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think it's the 5th, a Tuesday anyways.
um,
So then
then
Thursday
Thursday morning,
you guys get
up at
up
some
at
point.
some point. So I had a couple questions
So I had a
about
couple
that.
questions
As
about
far as I
that.
guess,
I guess
basically, maybe it
basically,
makes sense to ask first,
maybe it makes
what
sense to
time
ask
you
first
actually
what time
shot
you actually
Caitlin?
shot Kate.
Like, was it nighttime?
It was definitely
It was
night.
definitely night. I couldn't tell you what time.
No, I couldn't tell
Okay. How about like phone
you.
calls
About
and
like
stuff
phone
around
calls
that
and stuff
time?
around that time.
None.
Nothing between you
Nothing between you and your mom? I didn't? No. just
I
nighttime.
don't know what she
I don't know when
wanted
she
to
I don't know when her texts or whatever
because I,
were.
I
Yeah,
just
'cause
like
obviously, like, I
saying
kept
like
saying, like, "Hey, call Brenda, text Brenda," like, and she was doing something on her phone, whether they were texts or
so she
whatever.
was doing something on her phone, whether they were text or phone.
Okay,
So
so
she,
she might have been texting. So
Okay, so she might
she
I have
was
no
she might
idea.
have been
She
texting.
might
I
have
have
been
no idea
texting, I have
what
no
she
idea what she's doing, but
I
I
have
have
no
no
idea
idea what her
what
text
her
would have
text
been
was,
if she was
whether she was
texting
texting or a phone
or
call.
a phone call. I don't call. Alright,
one of the
one of
things
the
that,
things you have said,
so
though
two questions.
questions. You said that you were not physical with
You were
Caitlyn,
not physical
at all.
with Caitlyn
No.
at all.
Okay. How about the
Okay.
opposite? How about her physical with you? I guess I haven't thought about it. I wouldn't don't quote me, but I'm gonna say I do not recall.
Don't quote me.
And I'm only saying
I'm
that because it
saying
probably wouldn't really register if she did
I'm
ever
only
hit
saying
me.
that because it probably wouldn't really register if she
Hmm.
did ever hit me.
I
I
can say
can't think
that
of it
even if she
even if she
did,
did,
it wouldn't it would have been, like, very rarely. Okay. Is it fair to say
Fair to say.
to where I wouldn't even
so it's
remember.
to where I wouldn't even
But I'm
remember?
just saying
I'm
that
just saying that because I probably
because
wouldn't even
I probably
register it.
wouldn't even register it. What
I'm thinking of an event in my
I'm
head.
thinking of
Mhm.
in my head to
Where
where
I don't even remember what was going on. I remember and this is in Nevada, but she was really angry about something, and I don't remember what it was.
I haven't seen her.
I haven't seen or met Caitlyn. Is she any bigger
Bigger.
than you?
She
No, she's
is.
short
She's.
and tiny. She's very small, 5
Would it be
foot.
fair to say
Would it
that
be fair to say that you,
if
if
she
she did,
did
like, physically
physically
assault you, like, obviously you don't recall any
obviously you don't recall
injuries,
any
but
injuries, but any no type of
no.
injuries?
Any other type of injuries? No?
No.
Alright. One of the things you
One of the
mentioned
things
was
you
that she
mentioned
was
was that
getting
she was getting
aggressive on the
aggressive on the
29th,
29th.
so
So
you were
you were
asking
asking
her
her
about
about
Brenda coming
Brenda
to pick
coming to
her
pick
up.
her up. She really
She
wasn't
really wasn't
answering that
answering
question
that
most
question
of the
most
day.
of the day.
She
She
finally got
finally
to the
got to
point
the point where she's like saying she's
saying she's
not
not
going to
going to
leave.
leave, and then she's
And this is
and
one of the
this is one of
things
the
that
things that
kind of
kind of
popped out in my head is that she's now saying that she's making those threats about taking the kids away. M
threatening to take
The
the kids
threatening to take
away
the kids away for
for
the
the most
most
part
part
was
was
over
over
the
the
phone.
phone. Now
Now
she's
she's
threatening to
threatening
take
to
the
take
kids
the kids
away in
away
person.
in person.
Yes,
So
and
she
you
grabbed
said she grabbed
Eloise,
Eloise, and
and
I
I
said,
said,
just
just
wondering if you
wondering
could
if you
describe,
could
like, how she's holding Ellen.
was I messed up the name?
I
Sorry.
messed up the name, I'm sorry. Owen, Ellen,
she was
she was
holding.
holding
So
her. So, like, full
like
bear hug, so definitely 2
so
hands,
definitely
bear
two
hug,
hands fair,
which is again why, like, when
which
I
is again
said a
why
couple of times, more than a
a
couple of
couple
times,
times
I don't know. I couldn't even say how many times, more than a couple times.
um,
I had and
I had
obviously, I couldn't really pull
obviously
that much because there was
I
like,
couldn't
obviously,
really
I
pull
didn't wanna
that
hurt
much
Elowen by
because
doing this, but there was a couple times I did try to grab Elowen.
there was a couple times I did try to grab Eloise.
Hmm.
I
And again,
was never
I
grabbing
never grabbing Caitlyn, but I did grab Elowen and try and pull Elowen away,
trying to
but
pull
she was
Eloise
full,
away,
like,
but
bear
she
hugged
was full
Elowen.
like bear hugs
Was Ellen like, would you
Was
say,
Ellen
was Ellen
upset,
upset,
crying,
crying, or
or
was
was
she
she just
uncomfortable?
homeless?
She was crying.
So she's holding
Okay,
her
so while she's holding her forcefully
forcefully
enough
enough to cause her to cry,
cause her
or was
cry,
she
or was
crying
she
because
crying
you
because
guys
you guys were a combination? You could probably say both, combination of 2, because yeah, she's very smart. She knows. She
she's
knows, like,
very
when
smart. She
yeah,
knows
like, when whatever. Like,
she
in that
knows
situation when
like when
and, I should say this for the record too, I during that entire conversation, I might have yelled once.
in that situation when I should say this for the record too. I during that entire conversation, I might have yelled once. I
Mhm.
think that
I think
entire
the entire night, yeah, I probably only yelled once. But anyways, I was going to say Ellen knows when something's going on.
but anyways,
Yeah,
I was gonna say Eloise knows when something's going on. Yeah, so
it was probably a combination of both. A combination of both things. Okay. You did say that Caitlyn was becoming aggressive, and this obviously holding Ellen is a step towards that. She's threatening to take the kids away, like threatening you with calling the police and threatening to take the kids away. Did she threaten to hurt Ellen at this point, or harm, or do any type of threats to physically hurt Ellen or you? No. Is it safe to say that, or fair to say that she was not armed with anything, right, at this point, when she's holding Elowen? No. I will say I'm very aware of the surroundings. Yeah. Obviously, I knew my gun was right there. Yeah. And then there's a couple knives that are in the living room. Knives, like pocket knives. Where do you normally keep that firearm? Um, on me, pretty much all the time. Okay. Since I should say since I've been in New Hampshire, so for the past month. Okay. On me. Is it in a holster or I guess it depends on what I'm doing. Like if I'm in the car, I guess you're probably asking about the house. I do have a little like handgun safe. Hmm. That's up on, actually, it's still there. It's up on the safe. It's in a closet in the front room. I'm pretty sure it's still there. It should still be there. It's in the front room closet up, which is where I was storing stuff up on the top shelf. So, like, no one, like, I'm going to guess that's what you're referring to, could like kids get to it? And no. Well, that's at the back of my head, yeah, but that's not really what I'm referring to. Just curious if it was in a holster on the desk or if it was just on the desk. Pretty much it's just on the desk. Any other firearms in the house? No. Okay. Don't have any other firearms? No. And that, you said, was on the desk. I was curious about your training a little bit. I know you were in the Marine Corps. I'm assuming your disability was something to do with it's through the VA. So it's PTSD or something similar. I'm a veteran too, so I'm not uncomfortable talking about it. I know something. Yeah, well, that's a question I'm hesitant to answer. Okay, but yeah, if you're talking about training, yeah, because like I see where this is going to come into play. But yes, I am in the Marine Corps. Right away, right in boot camp, I was the battalion high shooter, and even the TMI, the coach, he gave me a jacket because he had never coached anyone who shot as high as me. And immediately I got tagged to become a combat marksmanship coach, in which then even in my coaches course, I got Top Gun in the coaches course and beating out like recon special forces guys. So that is something I have like a lot of pride in my Marine Corps, even more so than my actual job was just my shooting prowess. But I can see where this is going of like, could it be that I'm endangering Elwyn by what I did? And I
Could it be that I'm endangering Elwyn by what I did? And
would very much say no. And just from that, even just my training.
just from that,
Yeah, just to kind of tighten that up a little bit more. You're an expert marksman of some sort in competition. So it's fair to say, you were endangering Elwyn. Yes, because you're that, like, you know where the barrel of that gun was, right? Oh, yeah, but it was very, like, obviously and again, like I said, when everything was so fast, it really was like training, but obviously, like, it was instant. Like everything happened probably in a couple seconds.
probably in a couple seconds.
I mean, like grabbing and cocking, and yeah, like Like, it was very fast, but it was, I guess what were you asking now?
I guess what were you asking now?
So, well, so then I want to just now I have another question. The training you're talking about in marksmanship training, not like specifically hostage or anything like that. So, because that's like that was my first thought. Were you trying to remove Ellen from a harmful situation? Yes.
Yes.
So do you have training in like hostage type scenarios? Or is this more of a marksman training that you're referring to? Well, that would be just from our, well, we would have done that in the coaches course as well. Yeah, that's what I was wondering. Yes, right. Except I don't want to put words in your mouth and I don't want to assume anything. I'm guessing, is it fair to say you know exactly where you shot Caitlyn? What part of her body? I have a very good idea. Yes. Where was that? Um, I'm I'm trying.
I'm trying to, yeah, I'm trying to
Don't
decide
worry.
if this is a trap
Trap
question or
No,
not.
it's not. I'm
trap
just like,
question.
I just want to.
It's hard to say
It's
you're an
hard to say you're
expert
an expert
marksman and that
marksman
Ellen
and
was
that everyone
safe
was
and
safe
not know
and
where
not
the
know
round
where the
went.
round
So
went.
that's why I'm asking.
That's why.
Yeah. Well,
I,
yes, it went straight through. I don't know exactly where it hit. I mean, her hair is covering, but the side of her head through the other side.
I don't know exactly where it hit. Her hair is covering, but side of the head for the other side of it.
Okay. And you're right-handed? I am. Okay. And you fire with your right hand? I do. What type of caliber was the gun? 9 mil. I all right. And where is it now? It was in the front, the driver's side door.
The driver's side door.
In the car? Yeah.
Yeah,
Any other guns in the car? No, I
he
put it
thought there was.
okay, he thought there was,
No,
sorry.
no,
No, there's no other guns in there, and
I
I
did
did
tell
tell them,
them
though, like,
though
immediately,
that
like, when they were getting me,
when they were
I was
getting
saying,
me, I was
"Yo,
saying,
there's" and
there's,
I was already out of the car at this point, but I was saying, "Hey, there's a there's a pistol in the driver's side door with a round chambered." Okay. Just because they were
I will
I
say,
will say they were good on that of saying like, "Hey, just don't even touch the door," because the kids were right there too, and that was the point I was trying to make is like, yeah, or anything else, like, "Hey, there's a gun chambered right there." Do you have any injuries on you at all or anything like that you're
Do
aware
you
of
have any injuries on you at all?
on you? Like, did you get anything on your hands? I see, like,
I
the
see like
handcuffs obviously, like,
handcuffs
dug in a little
obviously
bit.
like dug in a little bit.
No.
Nothing on you.
Nothing on you, you're not harmed. You said both girls, as far as you know, weren't harmed other than the loud ringing in the ears, I'm assuming. Mhm.
Your
I
hands.
was gonna say,
I was
no,
gonna say, no, no,
I was
I
gonna
was
say,
going to say because
because
I which
I'm
again
trying
is
to,
probably relevant of I was
I
continually
was
trying to,
continually
like,
trying to, like,
as we were just yeah,
throughout the day,
throughout the day, morning, night, whatever, I was
I
trying to
was
check, like,
trying to check,
to make
like,
sure that
to make
Ellen's
sure
hearing
that
was
Ellen's
fine,
hearing was
and
fine.
obviously, I don't have any tools
Obviously,
or anything like that.
anything like that.
Right.
But it seemed like
It
it was
did
fine.
seem like
She
it was
wasn't,
fine.
she
She
wasn't
wasn't
complaining
complaining about
about
it,
it.
and she
She
said it
said it
was
was fine.
fine. Um, do you have any questions, Ed?
Um, do you have? Yeah, I guess
Yeah,
so.
so
Obviously, you've had a super
that is
difficult
super difficult
past year.
past year probably. You did everything
Everything
you
you can as a
can as
dad
a
and
dad, and
everything
everything's
went
been
against you.
against you.
Um,
Because
she's
you
friendly
let
to keep the kids
kids
apart
apart
because
because
you
you won't let her
let
put
her
them
put
on
them
her
on her
Texas.
taxes. Stuff like that
So
doesn't
they've
make
that
sense.
doesn't make
Obviously, you
sense.
have to do
Obviously,
what's
you had to
right
put up
and
with a
what's
lot of it
best for
because
the
of your
kids.
concern for the kids.
And
I
like I
know
said,
you
you
said
eventually
to stay in
came
Nevada. In the
to
first
Nevada in
place,
the
when
first
things
place
were
because
good
things were
there,
good there.
you had
You
this
had this
feeling
feeling in
in
your
your gut.
gut.
But
Well, I'm
I'm sorry.
sorry. I'll clarify with Nevada.
I'll clarify with Nevada.
I
Um,
do really love Nevada.
I do really love Nevada.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
It's
it's not
not
that
that
I
I regret
regret
moving to New
moving to New
Hampshire.
Hampshire because
Yeah.
I
I for the month I've been here, I like it. Obviously, things are different now, but my regret with Nevada
my
was
regret
leaving
with
to follow
Nevada
Caitlin
was leaving
To
to
Minnesota.
follow Caitlyn to Minnesota
Minnesota.
because if I
If I had talked to my Nevada lawyer before I had left, then they would have said, "Oh,
Kid out of state.
it's
File your
very
paperwork.
simple.
Like,
File your
like,
paperwork or whatever you have
like,
to do." Right,
very
yeah,
easy.
like,
The kid's gonna
very
want
easy. The
their
kid's
paperwork
going back
back.
to
Yeah.
Minnie or whatever, and so
Yeah,
that
and I hadn't
I hadn't
talked
talked
to
to
a
a
lawyer
lawyer
before.
before, and so when I or
So
specifically when I
specifically when I
say
say
I regret
regret
leaving
leaving Nevada,
Nevada,
it was
it's
specifically
specifically
for
for that
that reason.
reason,
I wish
okay? I
once you
wish once
left
you
that I was
left
just like,
that I was
yeah, you
just like,
left, you
"Well,
screwed
nope,
up
you left.
everything.
You
Like,
screwed up everything. Like,
bring the
nope,
kid
bring
back.
the kid back
So
here. I'm staying in Nevada."
And then
so
you
that was my
Okay, and then,
you
so that
follow
was
her
my
to Minnesota.
and then
Obviously,
you
you want to keep
follow
the
her to
kids
Minnesota.
together.
Obviously, you
You're
wanna
doing this long
doing this
commute from
long
northern
commute from
Minnesota,
Northern
Minnesota
Minnesota
twice
twice
a
a
week
week
for the
for the
kids
kids
and
and
with
with
the
the
kids.
kids. So
So
you're making
you're
all the
making all the
sacrifice. You
sacrifice.
finally
You
got to New
finally get
Hampshire.
to New
Things
Hampshire,
are
things are
working
working
out.
out,
We're
are getting
getting
better.
better.
You
You
have
have
that
your
place
own
where
place
it's
where it's
peaceful,
peaceful, and
and
then
then
she
she wants
comes
to meet
to
you
meet
with
you
the
with the
younger
younger
kid.
kid. You're at the
You're at the
restaurant,
restaurant,
and
and
she
she
wants
wants
to
to
come
come
to
to
your
your house,
house.
and you're
You
upset.
just had the
You're
feeling in, like,
thinking,
the pit of
oh,
your
like,
gut, like, this is not
this is
going
not
to
going to
end
end
well.
well. She's already
She's already
threatened to make
threatened
false
to make false
accusations when she
accusations,
wasn't even with
mhm,
the older
when
kid.
she wasn't even with
Now
the
she's
older kid. Now
accessing
she's
both of
actually
them. She can
right,
come to your house.
and
She's
have
gonna
you
have you
arrested and
arrested and
stuff.
stuff. Um,
And
and obviously,
obviously, you had that
and the
feeling in your
feeling
stomach
you
that
didn't
she
want her
didn't
there in
want
the
her
first
there
place.
in the
Things were
first
not going to
place,
go well.
and
She
things
didn't
were
make
not
it worse.
going too
And now
well.
you
So
had
you're trying to make it worse and
we'll
worse.
call it a regret, I guess.
Now you had we'll call it regret,
This
I
isn't going
guess,
to
of
end
like,
well when you guys
this
leave
isn't
that
going to
restaurant
end
and
well when you
possibly
guys
head
leave
back
the
to your
restaurant,
place.
possibly to head back to
And
your
do you
place.
have any other
Do you
regrets
just
or
have
things that you
any
wish,
other regrets or
like in the
things that
whole
you
grand
just
scheme
wish,
of
like,
things,
in the
that
whole
you
grand
wish?
scheme of things, that things went different? Well, what are you getting at?
Just like obviously
Like,
there's
obviously,
such
it's
a
a
long
long
buildup
buildup of
of
you trying to make
trying to
it
make it
work
work for
for
the
the
kids, and
kids,
nothing
and
seemed to
nothing
go
seemed to
your
go your
way.
way.
there
And
there is a
there
lot.
is a lot. I don't know if
I
I would
don't know if I
phrase
would
it
phrase
like
it
that,
like that
though.
though.
Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong.
I do
I
want
do. I
to
do want to, again,
again. I
I
do
do
want
want
to
to
say
say this,
this that
that from every point of our relationship,
from
her,
every
her
point of our
biggest
relationship,
issue was never
she
communicating, which
her
she
her
never
biggest
does
issue was
to
never
anyone, like
communicating,
her own
which she never
family.
does to
Like,
anyone, like her own
I'm
family.
the one
I'm
talking
yeah.
to her family
I'm the one talking to her family. She doesn't even talk
because
to
she
my
doesn't even
family.
talk to her own family.
So it's
So
like
it's like I'm
I'm super
super
big on
big on
communication,
communication. Like,
and
she never wanted
she
to
never
talk at
wanted to talk
all.
at all.
But
But
then
then two,
two, of
how
how
she
she
would
would never
never
compromise on
compromise
anything.
on anything.
And so, like, even small
And so
stuff
like
of, like,
even small
as
stuff
an
of like
example, so, like, I'm
as an
supposed
example.
to, like,
So
whatever.
like whatever.
Everyone's been in a
Yeah,
relationship, so yeah, everyone
everyone's
should
been in
know
a
what I'm
relationship.
talking
It's like
about,
small
but
stuff
it's,
like
like,
that.
the small
But it's like
stuff
all
like
these
that.
small
It's, like,
things that just
all
kind of
these
add up.
small things that just kinda add up and,
And
like,
I always felt
what
like
and I always
in my
felt like in
head
my head for
for
years, it was
years,
always
it was
like, and
always like,
again, I
and again, I
said
said
this
this
at
at
the
the
very
very
beginning,
beginning.
I'm so much
I'm
into,
so
like,
much into
for a
like
nuclear
for a nuclear
family
family
to
to
raise
raise
kids, so
kids.
I'm like the
So
mom
I'm like
and the
the mom
dad
and the
have to
dad
be present,
have to be present.
Yep.
To
have a
have a
good
good
child, to
child,
raise a
to
child,
raise a child.
you know,
Yep.
of this
Um,
guy. And so
and
this
so
comes
this comes
into,
into like
like,
all of
all
my
my
decisions of
decisions
like
of, like,
suck
stuff
up
up
my
my
pride,
pride, whatever, fine.
whatever.
She doesn't wanna
Fine. She
use
doesn't
the
want to use the
detergent, then
detergent,
I'll make
then
sure our clothes are separate.
make sure our
All of our
clothes are
stuff
separate.
is
All of our
separate.
stuff is separate. I have my stuff, like
My
my
stuff,
whatever
like, my
shirts
whatever
that I want
shirts,
to do
but I wanna
this,
do this,
and
and
like
yeah,
I
I couldn't
couldn't
wash the kids'
wash. I
clothes
couldn't
either.
wash the kids' clothes.
Its clothes had to be her thing, but anyways,
Um,
but it was
but it
just
was
like,
just like okay,
okay, for the kids,
for the
for the
kids,
kids,
for the
and
kids,
again, it
and
was like,
again, it was like
when
when she
she
took
took
it,
it
when
when
she
she
took
took, Valen
Valen to
to Minnesota
Minnesota,
and with talking to
and
my parents and
parents and
her
her parents,
parents,
and I was
I
just
was
like,
just like,
okay,
"Okay,
fine, we'll
fine, we'll
just do
just
it
do it for the
for the
kids."
kids,
And yeah, so
and
it's I guess I'm
so
trying to
it's
remember what word or what phrase you
I
were
guess
using specifically.
I'm trying to remember what word or what phrase you were using
Hopefully that's
specifically.
better.
I don't know if you
So I don't know
mentioned
if you
you
ever had
mentioned it earlier,
regret.
just
I
kind of like
mentioned that
things
earlier,
that you
just
did
kind of like things you could
wish
maybe
you had done
wish had done
differently or
differently or
whatever.
whatever. Um,
It sounds like you did.
Sounds like, I mean, immediately,
my
like,
immediate
again,
regret
my
is
immediate regret is leaving Nevada.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I should have just stayed there and got the lawyer, and then the kid would have been back. And then obviously that brings up that whole situation of the mom took the kid out of state.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, that looks terrible and probably would have just
right off, right then and there, gone through like a custody case. Um, and it would have, at the very least, there would have been, yep, whether it we would have split or whatever, obviously, it doesn't really matter, but obviously, it would have looked a lot better on my part, and so that was obviously, like, my first big regret.
big regret.
Um, I don't know. I feel like you're trying to get something out.
I don't know. I feel like you're trying to get something out.
I'm just
You
trying
just want me to look at the big
obviously you've only
honestly,
been
you've
in
only been in
Hampshire
New
for a little
Hampshire for a
while,
little
so
while.
the
There's a
whole
whole big
picture
picture.
may
Well,
be
you've
different
been kind of
altogether.
covered most of it, but
There's a
there's a
huge lead up to
to
this.
this.
It
Yeah.
sounds like to me,
Sounds like to me, and here's my
you
cue,
did
that you did
everything you could and
almost
it was just
everything you
never good
could, and
enough.
it was just never
To an
good enough.
extent, your
You
money
couldn't
wasn't
think, no,
enough.
your money wasn't
You,
enough.
you,
You
you
followed
followed
them
into
to
Minnesota,
Minnesota,
but
but
things didn't
things
work
don't
out
work out
there.
there. It
Sounds
sounds
like
like
you did
you did
everything,
everything, to the best
best
of
of your
your
ability for the
ability
kids.
for the kids.
Obviously,
Obviously,
things
things
turned
didn't
out
turn
for the
out,
better.
once you were
I'm
in New
sure you're
Hampshire like you
wonderful
wanted
too,
them
but
to, but, well, it feels like you're, like, buttering me up.
seeing as you see
I
fit,
feel
yeah.
oh,
Now I have a
now I have a
question.
question.
The
Go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say
Well, I
I
was
don't
gonna
know if
say,
you're
I don't
getting
know if
at
you
like
were
do I
getting at, like, do I
regret
regret
New
New
Hampshire,
Hampshire? Which, no,
which
I
no.
think I would have really
I think
liked
I would
it
have
here.
really liked it here. And
And
again,
again, we were
I was getting
I
everything
was getting
set up.
everything set up. I mean, because
I mean, because
this is going to
this is
come
gonna
up,
come up obviously.
obviously, as the case happens, but
Is
I don't even
the
know if I
happens.
want to.
But I don't even know if I want to use. I'm
Yeah, I
not sure.
probably shouldn't even talk about that. Let
Ask
me
you
ask
this.
you this.
Never mind.
Let me ask you this.
I don't
I
regret
don't regret
New
New
Hampshire.
Hampshire. And
And
again,
again,
I had
I had
everything.
everything.
I mean,
I mean,
Ellen and
Ellen and
I,
I,
we
we were having a
we were
great
having a
time.
great time.
We had
We
so
had
much,
so much, like,
like
immediate
immediately,
like, our
like
move
I
here.
moved
We
here.
have people
We had
helping us
people helping
move.
us move. She's
She's
made
meeting
friends
friends
here. We got
here,
into the
get
Head
into the
Start
Head Start
program.
program. Like, yeah, I got my whatever. I got, like, immediately, I got my driver's license. I still have a temporary one. They didn't send the new one yet, but yeah, I got, like, obviously the title switched over, all the registration stuff, and, like, just fully getting set up here. And, like, and you know what? I there
And
might
you might
there might
even
actually be
there might
text on
actually be
this.
text
I'm
on
not.
this.
I'm not
I'm not
sure
sure
because
if it
this
was
is
a conversation with
conversation
your
with my
mom
mom or
or
if
if there
they
were
were text,
texts.
but there might be
But
text.
there might be texts. There are definitely
There are definitely
conversations with
conversations with
my
my
mom.
mom of
Just
just
saying like,
anything, saying like, I don't wanna call this a
I don't want to call
success
this
until,
a
like,
success
Valen is here and
until
Caitlyn
like
is
Valen is
gone.
here and
And
Caitlin
I
is gone.
remember that at the very
And
least,
I
having those
remember
conversations, but there
at the
might
very least having
actually
those
be
conversations,
text
but
too.
there might actually be text to it
Because we would
because we would
have
have conversations of
conversations of "Oh,
oh, she's
she's
threatening us.
threatening us,
She's
and
not going to
she's
bring
not going to
Valen
bring
now.
Valen now," and now, like,
Yeah, I'm saying
yeah.
okay, fine.
And I'm
Put
saying, "Okay,
text.
fine. Put him on your
Put him
texts.
on
Are
your
you gonna bring him here?"
yes.
And then, yes. And it was
And
like, I always have
it was
so, like,
always so
I'm not
like
calling this a victory until this is
I'm
done.
not calling this a
And
victory
yeah,
until this
and
is done.
obviously, it was not a victory.
Obviously, it was not.
And now I have a question, and I'm going to ask.
I'm now having a question to ask.
But I've got
Well,
2 quick
two
questions.
quick
I think
questions.
we're pretty much done. So just give it kind of listening to the last
Two.
couple of minutes
Just
of
kind of listening to the
conversations,
last couple
I
of
have
minutes
to
of
ask
conversation.
now, like, it was
I
never
have to
your
ask.
intent for Caitlyn to come
It
here
was
and
never
kill
your
her.
intent
Is
for
that
Caitlyn
fair
to
to
kill
say?
her. Is that fair to say?
Yes. And
Yes,
this
okay, and
was
this was
Because
because
even the way
even
you
the way you
just
just
mentioned the text
text
message to
message
your
to your
mom,
mom, like, I mean, I
like
realize what you're saying, but
I
at the
realize
same
what you're saying.
time,
But at the
listening
same
to
time,
it, it's
listening to it,
making
it's
me
making me
now I have
now
to
I have to
ask
ask
that
that
like
question.
yes,
Right, yes, without a doubt.
without a
Never
doubt,
any intention
never
to ever
any
do
intention
anything
to
like
ever
that.
do anything like that.
Absolutely.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
The other thing I
And the
do,
other
being a
thing I do, and being a military veteran
myself,
myself or combat veteran myself,
the other
the
thing
other
I
thing
do
I
is I
do
put
is I
myself
put
in your
myself
head
in your head.
as I'm
And as I'm
listening
listening to
to
you
you
talk,
talk.
the other question I have to
The other
ask
question I have to
is,
ask is,
could you have done
could
something in
you
that moment
have
when you
done
were
anything
reaching
in
for
that
that
moment
gun,
when you were
and
reaching for
from
that
the
gun?
moment you grabbed that
From the
gun
moment you
to the
grab the
moment
gun
you
to the
pulled the
moment you pull the
trigger,
trigger,
could
could
you,
you,
in
in
your
your
mind,
mind,
have
have done
done
anything
anything
different
different to
to
prevent racking the round and
racking the round
pulling the trigger? Or is it just not
or is it
set
just
in
set in
motion
motion and
and
done?
done? No,
Nothing.
nothing you could have done.
It
It
was
was from the moment, it was like, nope,
even
from the
like
moment
even before I
my head
grabbed
was
it,
like,
it was
nope.
like,
Even like just even before I grabbed it, it was like
nope.
nope, and
And
then
then again, it was like it was
and
almost
again
like
it was
again
like it
is what
was
I'm saying.
almost
It was
like again
it's like your training
it's like
coming
my
out.
training coming out. It was muscle
It was
memory,
muscle
just
memory and just not even, well,
not even
whatever.
oh well,
I don't need to say that
exactly, you didn't say
because
that
but
exactly.
but anyways, yeah. I
But anyways, yeah, I
if you could do
completely
anything
agree.
different in the last 24 hours, what would you have done differently? Not let her go to the
Not let her
house.
go to the house.
But then it's you're getting into hypotheticals of
But then it's you're getting into hypotheticals of.
yeah,
But then the
yeah.
problem is
But then the problem is there would have been a situation then like at the restaurant
at the
and like
restaurant
or whatever
or
else
whatever
outside the
else
restaurant or like
outside
again
the
because
restaurant.
she was very clearly and I
Again,
guess I didn't
because
say
she
this.
very
She very
clearly,
clearly
because
had
I didn't say this, she
no,
very
I
clearly
did.
had,
I guess I
no,
did.
I didn't. I guess I did. Anyways,
Anyway, she
she
very
very
clearly
clearly
had no
had no
intention of
intention
for
of for
Brenda to
Brenda
pick
to
her
pick her
back up
back up
from the
from the restaurant.
restaurant.
She
She very
very
clearly
clearly
had
had
intended to
intended
come
to
back
come
to my
back to my
place
place without
without
telling
telling
me.
me.
Which is why
And
she
Right.
so
Which is
that
why
obviously
she and so
factored
so
in.
that that obviously factored into where I'm like, well, what am I gonna
Well, what am
so I have to
so I have
drive
to
her to
drive
Hampton.
her to
So I have to
Hampton, so I
drive
have
her
to
an hour
drive
and a
her an hour
half
and a
to
half to
Hampton
Hampton,
and then
and then
drive
drive
3 hours
3 hours
back to my
back to my
place.
place.
I don't know.
And,
And I get, you know
and
what? Because I
I get, you know what?
I have to call it out.
I have to
Like,
call it out.
are you
Like,
getting
are you
it? Do
getting
I
it? Do I
regret
regret
shooting her?
shooting her?
Well, this is your opportunity to
this
say
is
if
your
you do or
opportunity to say
not.
if you
So if
do or
you
not.
wanted to address
If you wanted
that,
to address that too,
yeah,
please do.
please do. Well, I don't know if I want to.
If I want to.
Okay.
You knew she
You know,
you knew she
she knew she was
based on your
based on your
training
training and
and everything
everything
else,
else and your
you knew
marksmanship.
she was
She
dead.
knew she was dead pretty instantly, I would imagine, for
For
sure.
sure.
So I'm done with
I'm done with
questions.
questions.
I'm going to look at the time, but I want to end the recording. Do you have anything else that you wanted to add before we well, I do want to say I'm not answering
I
that
do want to
last
say
question of do I regret that for either
answering that
answer.
last
It
question.
just feels like
Do I
that's almost
regret that?
like that's like a
For
trap
either
question.
answer,
Like
it
that's
just feels like that's almost like that's like a trap question. I don't know, like that's
and it's your choice to answer or not. I'm not going to. I'm trying to treat you pretty fairly and let you answer whatever you want to answer or don't want to answer. And if you don't want to answer it, please don't. Don't feel like we're trying to get something out of you that you don't want to give.
I
I guess
guess
just to
just
end it,
to
my
end it,
honestly, all you know what?
my
If I can talk more,
my obviously all you know what I if I can talk more, I'll say it.
I'll just say it, okay?
I have
I have
a
a
very
very, I'll say this because you
I'll
asked
say
this
this because
already, and
you
this
asked
is
this
like
already,
I
and this
don't,
is probably
you know what?
okay.
Okay.
Answer
Answer this.
and you
And
can
you can
answer
answer
this
this first.
first. Can you
Can you
even look
even
up
look up
what my
what my
disability is?
disability
Can you
is?
even
Can that
brought up
even get brought up in court?
Um,
There is a way to do it, and
there is a way to do
it
it.
has to
And
be like it has to be in the middle of the situation.
it has
So
to be
in
in the
this
middle of the
particular
situation.
case, I
So
think it would
in
have
this particular
already
case, I
have
think
been
it would have
done.
already had been done. So there has
So
to
there
be
has to
what's
be
called
what's called
exigency.
exigency, and by that I mean
By that
like
I mean
something like
something
heat
like
of the
heat of the
moment
moment
type
type thing,
thing,
hot
hot
pursuit
pursuit
type
type
thing.
thing, and
And
there's a way to call,
not the
not the
VA,
VA,
but
but
some
there's some our
our
intelligence
intelligence people
people
can
can
call
call
and
and
get
get
stuff
stuff
like
like
that
that
with
with certain
certain mechanisms.
I
If
can't say the
that
word.
hasn't
And if
already
that
happened,
hasn't already happened, then
there's
there's
ways to
ways
do
to
it
do
with
it
search
with
warrants and
search
stuff
warrants
too.
and
But
stuff too. But I'm sure it will come up one way or another.
And
And
I don't even know if
I
it's
don't even know if it even matters. Well,
well.
anyways, whatever.
Um,
I was going to
I was gonna
say
say
not even. not even with that.
Not even with
Um,
that.
I was just going to
I was
say
just going to
that
say that
starting back either 2016 or
um,
2017, I started getting into some very
starting back
severe depression, and
either
I did
2016
have
or
a failed
2017,
suicide attempt.
um, I started going into some very severe depression, and I did have a failed suicide attempt.
This was in
The
Nevada.
This was
This
in
was before I
Nevada.
met
This was
Caitlyn.
before I met
So there was a lot of me trying to find, okay, I don't need to go into the whole thing, but there was a lot of me like what is the point?
So there was a lot of me trying to find. I don't need to go into the whole thing, but it was a lot of me like what is the point?
Like I
There's no
there's no
purpose
purpose
for
for
me
me
to
to live
continue.
anymore. And that was kind of
That
where
was
I
kind
was
of where
at,
I was
and
at
then the severe
with the severe
depression, and
depression.
that's
That's
when
that's
then this all happened. But after that happened,
but
then my parents
after that
took
happened,
me into their place back in Minnesota,
then
and that is when I met Caitlin.
my
And
parents
then
took me
when we had
into
our
their
first
place back
kid,
in Minnesota,
Elowen, that was when it
and
really
that
was
is when
like,
I met
this is it.
Caitlin.
Like, this is why I'm here
And
now.
then when we had our first kid, that was when it really was like, this is it. Like this is why I'm here now. And it was,
And okay.
and
I don't even know that, like, I'm debating whether I even want to say this because I think veterans, when you talk to
I think
veterans, they understand this.
that,
I'll just
like,
give
I'm
this
debating whether I even want
caveat
to say this.
and say it.
Because I think veterans, when you talk to veterans, they understand this. I'll just give this caveat and say it
Because I feel
feel
like if
like
you're a
veterans
veteran
will
and you
understand
understand
this.
this, but I remember our very first
But
Christmas to where
I
Ellen had
remember
she had
our
just
very
turned one,
first
and actually
Christmas
this
where
reminds me
Ellen
because this
had
brings something up about
she
Caitlin.
she just turned one. And actually, this reminds me because this brings something up about Caitlin.
And we would honestly go down this
We
whole
would
road.
honestly go down this whole
I
road.
don't think Caitlin cares about the kids. And that's a whole another can of worms that can be opened up. But Elowen's
Ellen's
very
very first
first Christmas,
Christmas, Caitlin
Caitlin
left
left
and
and
went back
went
to
back to
Minnesota,
Minnesota.
so
So it's
it's just
just
me
me
and
and
Ellen.
Elowen. Um, and so
Um,
this obviously was in Nevada.
so obviously,
But I remember at the time, I was
um,
still like,
but I
I won't get
remember
into the
at the
details,
time,
but some
I was
financial
still
stuff came up,
like,
and I was struggling with money again.
I
And
won't get into
so
the details, but
that
some
Christmas,
financial stuff came up, and I was struggling with money again. And so that Christmas, I couldn't
I
really
couldn't
get
really
Ellen
get Elowen
anything.
anything. And so I took pictures.
And
There's pictures of me and
so I
Elowen when
took
she's
pictures.
whatever. This is her
There's
first
pictures
Christmas.
of
And
me and
she's like
Ellen
opening
when
up what I
she's
think she has like two toys. I got
it
her
was her
like
first
two
Christmas, and she's
toys.
like opening up
And we had just a little
two
Christmas
toys. We got her
tree.
two toys, and we had just this little Christmas tree.
I I remember being so sad that I couldn't get her more. And I had those thoughts back in my head.
I remember being so sad that I couldn't get her more. And I had those thoughts back in my head.
Mm.
But because
Oh,
Ellen
fuck
was
that. I don't want to
there,
see a stupid fucking face. Go back. Fuck
and
him.
she was so happy, that was like my life turning point.
This is life turning point.
Those thoughts
It's
ended
where those thoughts had been.
permanently.
permanently.
And everything was just for her.
And then everything was just for her. It was like,
And I said this at the beginning.
I said this at the beginning, to where I have
such a
strong connection with Elowen.
from like that moment.
That from like that moment, that was the turning point of my life.
That I was like, those thoughts
are just gone now, forever. And they are. They are forever gone. Even
I get it now. It's like there was no. Came into my head
they never even came into my head
that I would try to kill myself.
that I tried to kill myself.
Didn't even be a possibility.
It couldn't even be a possibility. Go back to the video camera guy. Fuck this guy.
Priorities change. Was my commanders used to always throw something like that. Priorities change, and it actually applies to pretty much everything.
It's pretty much everything. Sorry, I can't really understand the cops.
So it,
Oh, turn up my audio.
not that it even justifies anything,
Not that it even justifies anything,
but it's like
oh.
it's just my everything.
It's just, sorry, I can't. Oh, that's the end of that video. Thank fucking God. Sorry, can you guys tell?
Okay. Members of the jury, I realize that was a long video, but we'll take the mid-afternoon break now. It's currently 3:05. We'll resume in about, resume in 15 minutes. Okay, we'll resume in 15 minutes, resume at 3:20. Again, please do not discuss the case.
Boy, you guys, that was rough. That was real rough. I'm so mad right now. Mad and sad. I'll tell you what, having to repeat his words out loud is hard. It's very hard. So my opinion at this point is fuck this guy. All right. It's very apparent that he sees other people as extensions of him. He sees his kids as an extension of him. I mean, he could give two shits about Caitlyn. He has no regrets of killing. He wouldn't even entertain that thought. No, instead, he finally breaks down thinking about his kid, but only how his kid affected him on their first Christmas. And he could only get her 2 toys, even though at that point she's a couple weeks or a year old. Doesn't even fucking matter. She's a baby. And you're getting emotional because now you see that she's the reason you're put here on earth. What about her fucking mom? That you just shot in the head. You don't even care. You don't even care how that affects your daughters. Like, to not have their mom. And now they don't have you either. And then he wants to sit there and be like, well, it was just kind of on. I cannot. I think they could have got premeditated real quick from that interview. He said it himself. He said it was deliberate. He had a hold of the kids. He didn't say nothing about, he never even said anything to the cops about how he was worried that she was going to take the kids or kidnap the kids. You know? Oh, you know what? I just wanted some more time with my daughters. So we just drove, but I was going to turn myself in. Oh, really? You thought you deserved more time instead of the mother of your children whose life you just took? All you thought about was, well, what about my time with my kids? Fuck you, buddy. And then you can't even call the cops. Instead, you call your mom and you put that decision on your fucking mom instead of being a fucking man and calling the cops your fucking self. Pathetic. Pathetic is what this guy is. Oh, just let's go to the verdict already. I'm fucking over him. The coldness and this guy's entitlement. You know, he talked to how many lawyers? He said he talked to a lawyer in Nevada. He talked to a lawyer in Minnesota. And I'm not a lawyer, but I can tell you exactly what those lawyers said to him. Do not leave the state with the kid without establishing custody. You know that they told him that he has no rights to these kids. When he's like, oh, she was asking me for $2,000 a month, blah, 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 then fucking go to court, because you don't make enough to be shelling out $2,000 a month, okay? They're never going to make you pay $2,000 a month. Trust me on that, okay? You didn't even have that kind of money, you know? And he just didn't want to listen to anybody's advice at all. He wanted Caitlyn gone because it was easier, because it wasn't going to cost him money. And then he says this fucking toxic bullshit of, well, a nuclear family is like really important to me. Okay, and all right, everybody, sure, wants that, but it wasn't happening. Get over it. All right, now you got to figure out how to do things that's in the best interest of your child, not what's in your best interest in imaginary land. Okay? Oh my God. Anyway, what do you guys think? I'm so fucking, I hate this guy. Oh God. Yes, rant was incoming. I can't. Doesn't even care. Doesn't even care. Wouldn't admit to regretting it. Because here's the thing, you can claim self-defense and regret that you had to take somebody's life that you didn't want to take. You can do both. No. You know why? Because it wasn't fucking self-defense at the time. Didn't even come into his mind that self-defense could be an option. That's why he ran and fled. I don't know how many states is between New Hampshire and New York, but there's definitely Vermont, Massachusetts, maybe Connecticut. I don't know. You had plenty of states to think about it. You just took off. So you actually kidnapped your own children, but okay. Oh my gosh, it's so crazy. Damn it, Llama, stop sugarcoating your opinions. Exactly. If this was PTSD, I agree he would be remorseful when he realized what he did. You know, because PTSD is it is a big deal. All right, it is. It can be used as a reason why things happen. But see, that has to be the horrific thing of having an illness like that, is you can unknowingly do something horrible. You should be scared of even yourself. He wasn't. He didn't give a shit. Like, I don't understand. And he wants to act like he's world's fucking best dad. He said Elwyn was enrolled in Head Start. How? You didn't have custody of her. How'd you enroll her in school? Just wondering. No, PTSD isn't going to fly. As you drive past the police department, well, I was going to go turn myself in. I didn't want anything to happen. You know, he's sitting there the whole time talking about how, oh, he was so concerned with the children. Elwyn mostly. You notice he barely says Valen. It's all about Elwyn. She's fucking weird. Okay. Oh, I sat there and after I put her in the car after killing her mom and left the other baby in the apartment. Oh, well, I took time to make sure she was okay and safe. Look how caring I am, even though I just shot her mom in the head for no fucking reason. Okay. Dad of the fucking year. Oh my gosh. I didn't know it was going to make me this angry. But I am very angry about it. He didn't want to go to court because all his PTSD would have been brought up. His abuse that wasn't brought up in this trial yet would have been brought up. I mean, that's why he didn't want her to call the cops. He sat there and tried to make her look so bad all of the time. And it's like, if she was so bad, then go to court, buddy. Oh, I was afraid she was going to get me arrested. Arrested for what exactly? Like, what? Why would you be afraid of any of that? Unless, I don't know, maybe you are a dirtbag. I don't know. I can sense that sarcasm, Amos. I don't feel bad for him at all. At all. That is in no way self-defense. nothing he said, none of that. You know, and she was saying she wasn't going to leave. How is that kidnapping? I mean, yes, he could have called the cops for trespassing, but he didn't want to do that because I think Caitlyn was very serious about calling the cops, and he was not having that. He knew Elwyn, because fuck the other one apparently, would have immediately been taken away from him, given to her, and gone back to Minnesota. And he couldn't have that. Oh, and you know, like how too he was like, ooh, I was calm all day. I maybe yelled like one time. Anybody believe that? Because I don't. You think that he was calm that whole time? Somebody who's always calm and then just was like, you know what? I'm just going to pick up a gun and shoot somebody in the head, the mother of my child. Get out of here. Who are you trying to fool? Ugh. You have a bad feeling about his connection with Ellen. Well, it's just that he's placing all of this stuff on her. Like, sir, you are responsible for yourself in fixing yourself and your child. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, I have a kid. When you have a kid, it does, give you something to wake up in the morning for. And it does change you a bit, but to be like, my life was open. I never thought of harming myself ever again. It was so fucking dramatic. And listen, I am not knocking people that have severe depression, suicidal ideation. Been there, done that. And I'm going to call you out on your fucking bullshit. Okay? Stop it. Ugh. Pam says he has no reaction on video, but in court is holding his head. Wonder if he fell asleep. No reaction on video, fake reaction in court. He's only fucking thinking about the last part where he choked up. Is, oh, how am I going to go on now that I'm not? You could have just done a custody agreement, sir. You know, the fact that he thought, oh, you're just trying to trap me with the regret. He avoided that as much as he could. And it was like, you're trying to trap me. No, that's a normal reaction. I'm best under stress, right? He was calm the whole time. He only yelled once. And then he picked up his gun and shot her in the head. So maybe to him, the whole thing was calm because it wasn't as bad as it normally gets. Ugh. Oh, it absolutely is an unhealthy obsession for his own child. Yeah. I mean, when parents treat their children as an extension of them and it's never healthy. It's never healthy. And it wasn't healthy. He didn't want to lose Ellen at all. And listen, nobody wants to lose their kids. All right. Yes, it sucks going from seeing your kids all the time to not seeing your kids all the time. But that's life. All right. That's what happened. You and Caitlyn couldn't work through your stuff. You notice how every time he'd be like, well, Caitlyn, was upset about something. I don't remember. She would just say things. I don't remember. Oh, it's probably because you never fucking listened to her. Ever. She would never compromise. Yeah. Oh, she left on Christmas to go to Minnesota. Did she leave the baby by choice? Did she leave the baby by choice? Or did somebody say, no, you can't take the baby? And don't get her, if she's a newborn, probably not the best, but he wouldn't answer if he got PTSD from the service when asked, right? That's not unusual, Angie. Lots of service members won't talk about it. Oh, I guess that's a fair point too. But if he was, I don't know. I'm not really familiar in VA disabilities, how that system all works. I know it's a mess. But I'm sorry. I don't think this has anything to do with it. And for him to just sit there and act like that it's Caitlyn's doing. that this happens is crazy. Absolutely crazy. And now, so you know how he was describing like the setup of his house, because we didn't get to see pictures because I didn't have visuals. Remember that we read in some documents that Aunt Brenda said that Caitlyn had a plan to try to sneak the girls out in the nighttime when, you know, he was sleeping or whatever. But now we know that the air mattress was literally blocking the area between his bedroom and the living room. So that explains why she was never able to go through that plan, because I think he killed her at like between 5 and 5:30 at night. Oh, here we go. Here we go over here. Savage says, being a prior serviceman myself, that going back to training muscle memory in that sitch is a crock. That is true. Not many like to talk about that with just anyone, if at all. You're saying that just the training, it was up to that. That's all bullshit. Is that what you're saying? I'm sorry. To which I agree. Angie said he could have said in general he was diagnosed, but maybe not. I don't know. Buffy says, I'm not going to say he doesn't have PTSD because a lot of service members do, but this was not the result of PTSD. And I agree. I very much agree. Okay, yes, that was BS. Thank you for clarifying with me. It sounds like BS to me too. Well, I couldn't control myself. If you could not control picking up your gun and shooting her, you know, and he didn't want to say that he knew, he did not want to say the words, yeah, I shot her in the head. You know, and I don't think it helps his case to be like, oh, I was like the greatest marksman, or I forget what he called it during boot camp. There's a special name for it. He's just a narcissistic, evil man. Yeah, it was all about him. Even when it came to his girls, it was about him. And yeah, he's the kind of person that didn't listen to his lawyers. Because, you know, his lawyers, here's the thing, in case you didn't know about their custody, not lack of custody, right? He didn't have to give her any money. As a matter of fact, that lawyer probably told him exactly what I've been saying this whole time. Go get your paternity, go get custody, go ahead. Men, you can file to pay child support on your own, okay? Because, like, let's say you have kids for 5 years. You give the mom all thousands and thousands of dollars on your own. You go to court, guess what? They don't give a shit about that. Doesn't matter. Does not matter how much money you ever gave them. All right? They're going to go by this calculation or what you agreed on, and your financial contributions begin there. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you provide receipts to the mom. Oh, I gave her $5,000. And this whole bullshit of Caitlyn being like, well, she wanted $2,000 a month in child support. That's what she wanted. Take her ass to court then. Because she ain't getting $2,000 in child support, honey. That's not how that works. So, Buffy says maybe if he was sleeping with his weapon and somebody snuck up on him, that's when you go into muscle memory. Well, there is that. And that's true. Sorry I've cursed so much, but I had to say all of that bullshit out loud. And I will say, after talking about what happened to Caitlyn, it was really hard not to start crying, because that's just, to do that to those girls. And then to be like, well, I don't think she saw anything, referring to Ellen. I don't think she saw anything, as if that makes it all better. What? No, it doesn't make it any better. No, he did put disability pay on his form. He did. Here, I can pull it up again. Let's take a look at it. Because it was a request for his lawyer. So here is his request for a lawyer, because he doesn't have money. He had $400 on him. Remember, he just wanted $200 to buy Valen all the things she needs, that a 1-year-old needs, besides, you know, diapers and food, which he didn't even change her diaper the entire time they were in the car. He lists 21 $80 and VA disability, and then some $200 over here. I don't know what that's about. So a total of $23.80 a month. And then his employment was Google, YouTube. And then he has a credit card worth $4,000 that he has $150 a month on. Second one, so he's about $4,000. Well, that math doesn't math. Oh, a line of credit of $4,000. All of that. So where's my StreamYard? Oh, there we are. So, oh yeah, she heard it. She heard it. And literally was holding her when he shot her. Oh, I'm over this guy. I am so over him. Anyone know his MOS? I don't know what that means. So, I'm sorry. Means of service? No. I don't know what that means. Sorry. I'm assuming that's a military term. I was 75B and then 94B. I was supposed to be trained as, Marine. Oh, okay. Oh. I don't know how long he served or anything like that. Dude, if this guy takes a stand tomorrow, I'm day drinking. I'm just going to let y'all know now. All right? I'm going to let y'all know now. If he takes the stand, I am going to lose my mind and just drink all day because this is crazy. It's just frustrating. It's basically what they call your military job. I don't think he said one either. So, or like I even knew what I was talking about if he did. So we'll just go with what Bubby said. Kelly says, I will join you, but that might mean I have to start at 6 a.m. You know what kind of drink is good first thing in the morning? Mimosas. Mimosas or a screwdriver or, yes, hot toddies. Hot toddies. I love hot toddies, right? See? I mean, I don't know how he's going to do any better on the stand because now his time that he knows all this other bullshit to make up stuff that he didn't say the day after or whatever. And I'm still pissed. You put that on your own mother to call the police for you, Mr. Big Man who has a gun, who is the ultimate dad and should have his kids all the time. You called mommy, hoping she would call the cops to tell where your mother of your children's body is. I don't have nice things to say. I don't have nice things to say at all. Not at all. He said he trained people, marksmanship and stuff. Yeah, I don't know what he said. Your day drinker remark. Oh my gosh. Just something else. I need them to come back because I really have to go to the bathroom. Oh man, that's okay. I'll wait till they come back and you guys can take notes for me. Just why did Elbow Feet call me at 2 hours ago? It's weird. Thief just finished my windshield. I'm coming back to the house to the day drinking comment. Oh, Lainey, I know how you spent your birthday. I know you're on board. Oh. Where was he stationed? Don't know. don't know. He didn't really go that deep. I'm sure if he takes a stand, they will ask all of those questions. And I do want him to take the stand so I can hear more dumb shit he has to say. Somebody asked earlier, I think it was Michael asked if he was ever offered a plea deal. I don't believe so. I mean, because they just dropped the first degree charges in September. And they had second degree the whole time too as a backup. But no, I don't think they offered him any sort of a plea deal. He could have just pled guilty, though. Saved everyone a whole lot of fucking time. But nope. I'm about to start drinking right now. Oh, God. I don't have anything. Is Elbow Fee listening? Probably not. Probably not. Oh, I'm all sorts of worked up. I need to calm down. Calm down, Llama. Calm down. It's just to do that to children. And for what? Because you wanted everything for yourself that you felt you were entitled to. Oh, bullshit. And how many times he's like, oh, I'm a calm guy. I never get upset. Ask anybody. Oh, I'm a calm guy. I keep it together. Oh, like he just kept repeating that stuff over again, which means you're not. Okay. And if you are that kind of guy, wouldn't you be a little bit more shaken up about what the fuck just happened? I would think so. I don't believe him. I don't believe him at all. Me too. Oh, that's because the Air Force are babies. You guys are getting into it. Now, they neither have a parent. No. All for what? Because he didn't want to, he sat there and was like, she doesn't like to compromise. It sounds to me, sir, like you really don't like compromising. And that's why we're here. But I'm sorry. His biggest regret out of all of this, his biggest regret was moving from Nevada to Minnesota. That's your biggest regret? That you fucked up your daughter's families? Okay. Pam says I had to put in a few comments in backspace because I can't seem to type one without this piece of work triggering all the bad words. Girl, it's fine. It's fine. I've already said a lot of bad words. So, yeah. Oh, your daughter's in the Navy learning to fly helicopters. It's pretty cool. All right, you guys, I'm going to go to the bathroom. I'm going to take a quick, 5-10 minute break. I have this up in case you start again, but I need to get up, go use the restroom, calm down for just a few minutes, and then I'll be right back. So please don't go anywhere. But I'm just going to need to do that. So I will be back soon.
my objection, or the defensive objection to the use of subtitles, and note the dozen or more errors that I saw during the review of the video with the subtitles. These are either errors from what you could audibly hear and what the subtitles said, differences between the subtitles and the corrected transcript, or both. And given the pacing, I can't tell you which, and I couldn't tell you that I got all of them, so these are just the ones I caught. And I'm just gonna note for the record, the errors in the subtitles. And again, I think our concern here is that the jury is going to rely on the subtitles. It's human nature, it's why I have subtitles on when I watch TV, it helps me process, rather than listening to the video, even with the limiting instruction. It's something our brains do automatically, it's not something we can.
Okay, what did I miss?
And so, just for the record, error 1, page, this is what's been marked for ID as states 32, and I'm going by the page numbers at the top right. Page 14, line 9, it said looped in, it should have been moved in. Line 21, it said where, when it should have been whether.
Honestly, these words are the least of your concerns, ma'am.
I'm sorry, page 17, line 4.
Yes.
The H in DEBORAH was excluded. Page 24, line 2, mine, when it should have been my. Page 25, line 1, the phrase hunter, fisherman was omitted. Line 9, like do you want a, was omitted.
Here, let me turn this back up.
Line 33, I believe it said will hire the place, when the corrected transcript and what you could audibly hear was I already had the place. Page 35, line 5, it said and da, when it should have said and none of that. Page 46, line 14, and again line 16, it should have said I then Venmo'd, and it said I mailed her.
I did think the mailing thing was weird. I was like, why didn't you just send it through
Line
Venmo?
4,
Whatever.
it's
Doesn't matter.
said I was when it should have said I. Page 52, line 1, Sergeant McLaughlin is misidentified as Detective Horton. Page 55, line 12, it said pulled when it should have said filled. Page 57, line 6, the word like was omitted. Page 58, line 4, and instead of I. Page 58, line 21 to 22, it said I never like hit her or punched her or anything, when it should have said I never like hit her or touched her or anything. Line 59, it said after a couple of times, or I'm saying page 59, line 15, after a couple of times, when it should have said after a couple of attempts. Page 60, line 14, Sergeant McLaughlin erroneously identified as Detective Horton, or vice versa. Line 61, it said check that instead of, or page 61, line 2, check that instead of check though. Lines.
Oh, ma'am.
I couldn't really check for her earring when it should have said I couldn't really check for her hearing.
Obviously.
Page 64,
She's doing her job.
line 2 and 4, 2 errors, and for my own, but it instead said and from my own. Same page, line 9, maybe is instead of maybe as. Page 68, line 8, omitted because I was like.
Yeah, she does. And just note, this is good for appeals. So,
This one was moving too quickly, and there was, for me to catch, but there was an error sometime around line 19 to 20, when some statements were omitted from the subtitles that were said audibly. Page
definitely Amos.
82, it looks like line 22, the speaker was misidentified. Of course, the error we've talked about previously, page 87, line 15. Fair to say you know you weren't endangering LON is what the corrected transcript says. What Sergeant McLaughlin said is what he said, but the subtitle said, fair to say you know you were endangering LON. Page 95, line 16, the word I was omitted. Page
But also, they're not getting
96,
this in evidence in the jury room, so
Detective Horton, I believe, said, correct me if I'm wrong, and that was omitted from the subtitles.
I think they were, but
Page 105, line 17.
I think this one they're
is
just like,
one
yeah,
that
whatever, fine.
Sergeant McLaughlin identified on direct. It said whacking the round, the subtitle did, when the actual correct statement was racking the round. Page 106 had multiple errors, line 2, to what I'm saying versus is what I'm saying. Omitted because line 5, because it's not like that has even happened to me ever before. Line 14, the problem is versus but then probably there. Line 108, page 108, line 17, honestly was what the subtitle said, but the audio was clearly obviously. Page 112, line 18, speaker misidentified. And I think we ended there. And Judge, I think it's more about the overall quality of the information being presented to the jury. I think the most substantive errors are we've already discussed at length. But I would say if those are what I can catch at a full speed, non-slowed down review, it's likely there are even more errors. And so I understand the jury has heard it. I'm just making my record about the impact that using the transcript has had on the jury, and renewing, noting our objection made multiple times prior to it being played. And that's all I have on that issue.
Okay, thank you. Attorney Duren, any comments?
Just that counsel has noted, as they've noted, most of these are minor errors. Different people hear different things, as is obvious. The transcript was provided to defense counsel before June of 2024. They chose to utilize this one in terms of their motions for redaction. In fact, the state had offered them the opportunity to reconsider that and utilize the edited, corrected version done by Detective McLaughlin. Defense chose not to. The state followed what the defense requested in terms of transcripts. These are minor. They've been corrected on examination. They've actually been notified, I believe, 3 times. The detective, as well as this court, have instructed the jury that the audio is what they should listen to, because the transcript can show errors. Even the larger error, or the error that defense counsel points out as being substantive, was corrected on direct examination. Defense counsel is free to cross-examine. This was given to the jury and instructed by a limiting instruction that this was merely for a guide and that they were to rely on the audio for any differences. Your Honor, unlike defense counsel, I don't listen to subtitles because I don't trust them. In terms of on television, they're always wrong, and I'm sure defense counsel is aware of that as well.
Sure.
This was given to jurors as a guide. There were errors, but they were minor, except for the one. Defense counsel is free to question on cross-examination if they don't feel that the state addressed them appropriately on direct.
And just a couple of notes. I don't know why the state gave the jury evidence it doesn't trust, that it thinks is incorrect. It's not our burden to ensure that the evidence that the state is presenting is accurate. It's the state's burden. And we did not ask the state to use incorrect subtitles. We objected to the use of subtitles at all for this very reason.
Your Honor, that was a colloquial speak. The subtitles are done by somebody listening to a tape who was not involved. That's why it is sworn to. It is transcribed by a stenographer, and the state provided corrected information. This could have all been corrected had defense counsel raised these concerns prior to the transcripts being used. These are minor issues within this transcript.
Very
And
minor. Who
the jury
cares?
has been told that they need to rely on the audio. The audio is the evidence. This tape was provided for presentation purposes as an assistive device, not as evidence, and the court was very clear in its instruction.
Attorney Kettles, I note that you have not raised an objection relative to whether or not the state did not properly redact consistent with my order dated October 10, 2025. It does appear that the video that was played is consistent with my redactions relative to those portions of the transcript. I would note that I haven't heard any objection in that regard. And Attorney Duren, based upon your argument, is my understanding that the state's position is that, with the exception of the were versus weren't endangering comment, my understanding is that the state's perception is that any perhaps incorrect word choice does not alter the sense of what is being said as part of the tape. Is that correct?
That is correct, Your Honor.
Okay, all right. Satisfied with the record?
Yes, Your Honor.
All set? Okay, so any further, the court is denying any request for a further limited instruction. Again, the transcript in whatever form will not be going to the jury. That's number one. Number two, the version of the video that has been admitted as a full exhibit, that version does not have subtitles on it, and that version has been admitted as a full exhibit. So that version will be going to the jury. I've already instructed them that they are to consider the audio to be the primary evidence, and they are to rely upon that, and the jury is presumed to follow my instructions. So that is my ruling with respect to that. Satisfied with the record, counsel?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, jury.
And bringing the jury back. Is the state going to rest? Are they still questioning the detective? Right, because they haven't done a cross on that guy yet. I'm so over it. And his stupid face. That guy. Oh, I forgot to put the banner back up today. Whoops.
All rise for the honorable jury.
I thought it was very interesting to see the stuff that he wasn't saying. Couldn't remember or blah, 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 blah. Look at that bailiff's like
Thank you. Please be seated.
neck tat all the way up.
Sergeant, you still on the road, sir? Yes. Thank you.
Right?
Sergeant, I'm going to ask you some questions about what Dustin told you,
Okay.
and a couple of questions about what you asked or said to Dustin. Dustin said, I can see where this is going, of like, could it be that I'm endangering Elowen by what I did? And I would very much say no.
That sounds correct.
And you responded, yeah, just to tighten that up a little bit more, you're an expert marksman of some sort in competition, so it's fair to say you know you weren't endangering Elowen.
Correct.
And in response to the question, you know you weren't endangering Elowen, Dustin said yes.
Correct.
And talking about Caitlyn, Dustin said there was probably a good half hour up to where she grabbed Elowen and was not letting Elowen go.
Yes.
We'll back up a little bit to the start of the interview. You read Dustin his Miranda rights?
Yes.
You told him he didn't have to answer your questions?
Yes.
You told him he had the right to speak to an attorney?
Yes.
Dustin told you he understood his rights?
Yes.
He told you he was willing to answer questions?
Yes.
He didn't have an attorney present when you asked him questions?
He did not.
He didn't ask to speak to an attorney before he answered your questions?
He did not.
He answered your questions?
He did.
Sometimes he volunteered information that hadn't been asked?
A lot of information.
And Dustin told you that he and Caitlyn had agreed to move to New Hampshire,
Yes.
that they agreed to this in July or August of 2023.
That's correct. Yes.
He told you then Caitlyn sent all their stuff to Minnesota.
She ordered pods to send her stuff to Minnesota. I'm not clear if, because he also said that a lot of her stuff was left in Nevada, so I'm not clear. I think her intent was to send it to Minnesota. I'm not clear on that totally.
And that whatever she did with the pods and the stuff, she did that without saying anything?
Dustin said the first he learned of it when the pods actually arrived, so yes.
Are you saying that he didn't say that that was without her saying anything?
My recollection is that he didn't know, so he didn't know, which I guess you could assume she didn't say anything, but he didn't know until the pods actually arrived that he didn't order. Or that she had ordered.
And he said that she took their 1-year-old without Dustin knowing,
Yes,
that Caitlyn took the stroller like she was going to the park,
yes,
that several hours later, Caitlyn and the 1-year-old hadn't returned,
correct.
that Dustin went to the park to look for them and they hadn't returned,
They were not at the park, yes,
and Dustin tried to call her, like, what is going on?
correct.
And Caitlyn was at the airport,
That's what he said, yes,
bringing their 1-year-old to Minnesota.
yes.
Which is all within her rights to do.
Dustin then spoke to you about
Yeah, if he doesn't like it.
Minnesota, and he said that eventually he and Caitlyn had a sit down with the two of them and Caitlyn's dad.
Yes,
And Dustin suggested, can we just continue to move to New Hampshire?
yes,
Caitlyn agreed,
that's what he said, yes.
and he said they agreed to stay in Minnesota until Valen's birthday.
Valen's birthday, Christmas, some of the holidays.
And that they would then continue on to New Hampshire.
He sucks, Tracy. That's all you know.
It's not clear to me if by they he meant himself and Elowen, sorry, or all four of them.
But he said part of the agreement was for Dustin to drive to New Hampshire with Elowen,
Yes,
and then the plan was for Caitlyn to fly out with Valen.
yes,
He told you that Caitlyn kept asking for more and more money.
yes,
He told you that she kept threatening to take the kids away.
correct. I'm not sure if that meant custodially through the courts or something else.
I'm not asking what it meant, I'm just asking what he said, right?
Yes.
Which is that Caitlyn kept threatening to take the kids away.
Yes,
She can do.
And every month it was the same thing of her wanting more money with threats of taking the kids away.
that's accurate.
He said when Dustin and Elwyn got to New Hampshire, Caitlyn got more aggressive with her threats.
But yes, and more aggressive with asking for money.
What does it even mean, though?
Caitlyn was saying she was going to keep Valen in Minnesota unless Dustin started paying her money.
That sounds correct.
They had a phone call where Caitlyn was yelling that she was going to have Dustin arrested.
I'm not sure about the yelling, but that sounds correct.
Would it refresh your recollection if I showed you the transcript? May I approach?
Certainly.
Oh, now we can use the transcript?
32, number on the top, page 37.
Now it's fine.
Here, to where she was yelling that she was going to have me arrested.
Okay.
So he told you that Caitlyn was yelling that she was going to have you arrested?
Yes, him arrested.
Have him arrested, yes, apologize. That she was threatening to put Dustin in prison and take the kids away?
Yes,
It's the detective from earlier this
That
morning.
Caitlyn was lying and saying he had taken Elwyn to New Hampshire without her permission?
yes,
And Dustin said that after that phone call, he reached out to both of Caitlyn's parents.
yes,
He was trying to get her family to help out.
yes,
He reached out specifically to Caitlyn's mom after Caitlyn threatened to arrest him and take the kids away.
yes,
He had also been talking to her dad about it.
yes,
Dustin said he asked Caitlyn's dad to check on Valen
yes,
because Dustin wasn't seeing Valen and wanted to make sure she was okay.
that's correct.
Dustin reached out to a Minnesota lawyer.
That's what he said, yes.
Dustin was afraid that Caitlyn was going to lie to the police and have some sort of raid on the house.
Yes,
Dustin told you he called the Berlin Police Department,
he did.
and he said the Berlin Police Department said they wouldn't get involved.
Something to that effect,
I
yes.
mean, yeah, it's typical
I want to turn now to what Dustin said about the incident itself.
because he doesn't have a
He
custody
described
agreement.
Caitlyn refusing to leave.
Yes,
He said Caitlyn was getting more and more aggressive.
yes,
He said Caitlyn told him she was going to take the kids away from him.
yes,
Caitlyn told him she was going to call the cops and have him arrested.
yes,
Caitlyn grabbed Elowen and was not letting her go.
yes,
She was again threatening to take the kids.
yes,
Caitlyn was saying she was going to take Valen and Elowen back to Minnesota.
that's what he said, yes,
Dustin tried to grab Elowen and be like, hey, let go of
Buddy.
Elowen.
yes.
And Caitlyn just wouldn't let go.
It's my understanding.
Caitlyn had Elowen in a full bear hug.
Bear hug, yes,
Hands bear hug.
The horror.
And he made a motion to demonstrate.
he did,
The horror. Oh my goodness.
Dustin tried to grab Elowen a couple times,
yes,
but he couldn't pull that much because he didn't want to hurt Elowen.
yes.
They want to hurt
Elowen
her.
was yelling.
Shoots her mom in the head. Okay.
I don't know if she was yelling or crying. If that's what the transcript says, then
And
yes.
It said both, right? He told you Elowen was yelling and
Cor-
Elowen was crying.
I recall crying.
He said that Caitlyn was holding Elowen forcefully enough to cause her to cry.
I asked a question about that, and the question,
I'm sure
the
that's
question, I got kind of a combination of the two, forcibly enough and also the arguing.
And also the arguing. But
Probably
both of
more
those
from the
those
arguing.
were causing her to cry.
Combination of the two, yes.
He said it was very, very fast, very deliberate.
The shooting,
Yes.
yes,
Very, very fast, very deliberate was the phrase.
yes,
He said it was very quick.
yes,
He said he grabbed the gun, chambered it, grabbed Elowen, pulled her back, and shot.
yes,
He said it was immediate.
yes,
He said it happened super fast.
yes,
He said, right when I shot, it was immediately, I just grabbed Elowen.
that doesn't sound accurate,
That doesn't sound accurate?
no. I think there's more to that sentence, grabbed Elowen and put her in the car.
I missed that part, damn.
All right. This was marked for ideas states 32. This is that corrected transcript that you talked about. You reviewed, make sure it was accurate.
Oh, trans.
It says, and then right when I shot, it was
60?
60.
And
It
I
said,
object at this point, if she's using it to refresh recollection, this is not appropriate.
Sustained.
Maybe Pooch.
Yeah.
Sure.
I don't want transcripts. The transcripts are unfair, but I'm going to use them anyway after I just complained about it for probably like a total of 45 minutes today. I'm going to use it to refresh this guy's recollection. Make it make sense. And here's the thing. Caitlyn, all well within her rights to do and say everything she did. She wasn't wrong about any of that. She can take her kid where the fuck she wants. She's the one that has the rights for him, not him. Not him. So, like, I know they're trying to look like, oh, she's the bad. And they keep saying, too, like, oh, she kept getting aggressive. What do you mean by that? Aggressive? Like standing up for herself? Would you call that aggressive? I mean, she's just saying words. What do you mean by getting more and more aggressive? He called her that. I said that to her several times. You know what else he said? I was thinking about this earlier when I took that quick little break. Is that they had asked him about his gun, right? And he was like, yeah, I carry it around everywhere since I've moved to New Hampshire. Like, New Hampshire is the place where you got to carry a gun out everywhere. I mean, you can. I know you can there, but like, just the way you said it was like, well, since I've been here. And then here's the thing is if you're going to carry that gun everywhere, the holster was found with the magazine up in the top shelf of his cabinet. So like, you're carrying it everywhere, but usually the thing that you use to carry it a lot of places is not with the gun. So, I just think that's kind of weird. That's all I'm saying. I got questions. I have questions. And that's the thing too. He knows that she was well within her rights to do all of these things. All of these things. But no. He didn't want to go to court. He didn't want to do any of that. He said in the interview too, well, I wanted both the girls and I wanted her gone. Now, maybe he meant not at his house, but the way that he worded that and the way he said that and when he said it, I thought was very interesting as I said it out loud. Also, I want to say I have mad respect for court reporters who have to talk on the phone.
We'll resume at 9 o'clock tomorrow. Again, I remind you to not discuss the case amongst yourselves or with anyone else. Don't conduct any research whatsoever about any matter you've heard relative to this trial or on any other subject that could impact your eventual determination of the issues at hand. If you do, again, I remind you there's a media presence, and I instruct you to avoid any media coverage of what's happening in the courtroom, and to go so far as to try to prevent any inadvertent exposure. With that, we'll see you at 9 o'clock tomorrow. Thank you for your patience and your understanding.
All right. So 9 o'clock tomorrow, 8:45 for us, so we can get here a little bit early. I guess the state's not resting today. Can't wait to hear more about some transcript BS in the morning, I'm sure.
Okay, court will be in recess. Thank you.
All right. That is it for all of them. Okay. All right. There we go. Oh my goodness, you guys. Oh my goodness. My brain hurts. It hurts right now. It hurts a lot. Oh, so the state should rest tomorrow morning would be my guess. I don't know if they have another witness after this guy. I don't know who else they would even need at this point. And then it's going to go over to the defense. So we may get to see Homeboy take the stand tomorrow. And I really hope he does. So I can sit here and yell at him because I do not like him anymore. I mean, I didn't like him to begin with, but I especially am not a fan. So I think it will be a interesting day tomorrow. Some of you might want to have some day drinks available just in case. Definitely, if you're part of the replay crew and you haven't got to be a part of our chat, go ahead, leave your comments under the video. We do respond back to those. And you can still be part of the conversation that way. Now, tonight, True Crime and Wine Time, me and Terry will be here at 8 p.m. Eastern tonight to talk about All Duckies Go to Heaven, the devastating tale of Judith Barcy. It won't be too terribly long, but it will be very good. Sad. You can bring drinks to that show too. And now you need to go learn about the NBA and the mob with illegal gambling. Oh, well, that's been around for a very long time, sister. I know Vermont and New Hampshire and Maine. Oh, I bet it's all super beautiful up there. Well, you guys, I don't know if I really have much more to say. I think I've said about all of my thoughts today, and then some. Again, we'll be back at 8 p.m. tomorrow morning. If you're not going to catch us for True Crime and Wine Time, we'll be back here at 8:45 a.m. For whatever tomorrow has in store for us. So I appreciate all y'all being here, your support, liking, subscribing, sharing on social media. It all helps tremendously. So I will see y'all later. And if I don't see you tonight, I'll see you in the morning. And go forth and be amazing. Bye, guys.